What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy Vardy, today in the studio with my boys Dan and the newly inaugurated DGU Gino. What's going on, y'all?
What's going on, fellas? How's it going?
Hey, everybody. Good to be on the show, finally.
Finally, there's some bloopers. Y'all will see them at some point. Maybe.
One day in the future.
Where Gino just like bugged.
Dies.
Literally, like, it's like, do y'all remember when like Dan would just boop, pop off a podcast? And that's what happened to Gino.
But his was like, it was like a slow death from our point of view. Like you saw it was fine, and then you say something, it was like super duper delayed, and it was just like got worse and worse to the point it was just like he died.
Yeah, exactly. It was really funny to watch. So maybe you guys will see that. We don't know. Today's topics, we've got, of course, poll results, Q&As. We can never get past that. We've got locals to go over because, well, locals are locals. And then we are continuing the quick and dirty beginners masterclass part 2 on deck building. And all that fun stuff. But first, we gotta ask it because y'all don't even know who he is. Y'all, who is this man? I mean, somebody asked it today. They were like, "Who the hell voices those Did You Know videos?" And I was like,
"Did you know?
Did you know? It's DGU Gino."
That's me.
So Gino, tell us, what is your history with Digimon? How did you get into card games? How did you get into the Digimon card game? All of that. Lay it on us.
Okay, so like you guys, probably. No, definitely. I watched the show growing up as a kid, mornings before school, catch it on, whatever it was on. And I watched a bunch of Adventure, O2, and then Tamers. And as soon as they got to biomerging, I don't know why, but I was just like, they turn into the Digimon, I'm out. This is stupid. I don't like this anymore. And then I learned that the next season was going to be only that. Yeah, it's just that. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm not a Digimon fan anymore. So I fell off of it for a long time. I didn't really get back into it until I want to say around COVID. I picked up Cyber Sleuth because it was like on sale or something. And I was like, this is amazing. This is awesome. I loved Cyber Sleuth. And I played the hell out of that. And then I'm mostly on the game side of things. I played a bunch of Digimon games growing up. I played Digimon World and Digimon Rumble Arena. Those are the two ones I played the most. And then, as for the card game, I got into the card game right around BT9 time. I bought 2 starter decks. I bought the 2 dual color starter decks, the Pyildramon and the the Mastimon one. And I said to my girlfriend, who is now my wife, hey, if I get these, would you like to learn how to play this with me? And she said, sure. So we played like 2 games and she never touched it again.
Yeah, that sounds about right. At least she gave it 2 games.
So it's actually interesting the whole way I got into actually like playing more competitively, because I'm not a card game guy. I like card game games. So like I played like Hearthstone. I played the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy, stuff like that.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, those games rule. Anyway.
Not Hearthstone, the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color.
Yeah. Awesome game. Great game. But I was like, man, I need people to play this Digimon card game with, because I'm really into Digimon all of a sudden, and I'm really like this card game. The memory gauge is really cool and unique. I've never seen something like this, because I've dabbled in Magic and stuff. Some of my friends play Magic. And I love the fact that there was no resource. You don't waste a turn playing a land or using an energy like in Pokemon. Like, it's just gas, kind of. And I liked that. So I went on Reddit, and there was someone who's like, on Reddit was like, hey, is there anyone in the Lehigh Valley playing Digimon? And I said, wow. Yes, actually. And he worked like 2 minutes from my local card shop. So I'm like, sick, let's meet up, let's play. And we played like just casual. And after a while, I got more and more like, man, I want to like get more competitive. Like I want to win, And from there, BT10 was the first time I ever came to locals up there at the edge with the rest of you guys. I remember my first locals with Blue Flare. I think I 2 and 2'd it, but it was a good time. So yeah, that's my Digi history, I think.
Wow. I wish I could say that, I saw somebody looking to play from the Lehigh Valley because, it's rough out here over in these parts.
Did that other person ever showed up to the edge at all?
No, he's so it's funny. He, like I said, we played mostly casual. We just built decks with Digimon we liked. Like I really like Sakuyamon. I built that trash deck. He was a big Terriermon fan well before, Terriermon got good.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of playing fun decks and just having a good time playing cheap decks. And then I was like, oh, bro, like I'm starting to go to locals. Like I'm starting to place, like I'm doing well, you get cool arts and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. And we would play and I would bring my more competitive decks and just stomp him. And then he'd be like, yeah, I think I'm just a collector. And we haven't really played since. I should connect with him.
So in other words, Gino pushed somebody out of the card game by being meta scum.
I wasn't even playing like crazy meta stuff. Okay, I did the Shoutmon Cross 4 thing to him like one time, okay?
Oof. That's PTSD inducing right there, man. Cross 4, loop it up and do another one, keep it going, and OTK something like this. Jesus Christ. That is rude.
That's like Omari with Imperial shenanigans. Helmet, just swing jamming everything and keep on suspending while you do it type shit. That's like, that's definitely stress inducing. PTSD inducing.
Well, guy, his real PTSD was Mike's 24K cranium that he couldn't get over.
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
But that was jank. Like that was just complete and utter jank that Mike was on for that day for some reason.
But Amari was playing something that was meta. I think it was Jetsmon or it was Jetsmon. It doesn't even matter.
It was red. It was so all of its deletion was just
didn't mean anything.
Yeah. Plus, it was 24K blocker. He couldn't swing over either.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so wild.
How the fuck do you get a cranium on to 24K?
I don't remember.
It was like for DigiBurst. You would have
Zubagon.
Yeah,
he did some shenanigans. I don't know what it was. We gotta see if Mike remembers. But it was like something stupid hot. Maybe it wasn't 24K, but I know it was like 18, 19, 20, 21, somewhere around that range. Like it was something like stupid hot where it was like he couldn't even math out Jetsmon play to make him like 18K or something like that. So like it was just funny as all hell.
Big.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the funny part.
If only
about
it was newer Jetsmon. If it was newer Jetsmon, I mean, yeah, you get up to what? A GX can get up to like 23K with
20?
ease.
Yeah, easy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your standard combo could get you like to 2024 in that range, I think.
You could swing over any craniumons that stand in your path.
Yeah. Or crash with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what a time to be alive.
Sure was. Man, so Gino, locals anymore.
Is that why you have embarked on your Digimon game playing journey because of all those years that you missed out on playing Digimon?
Yeah, so I'm a big video game player. I like games a lot. I hesitate to use the word gamer because I feel like it has some sort of connotation to it. But anyway, I play a lot of games and I have this problem when I play games where I can't, if you're like, yo, Gino, here's the new Zelda game. I'm like, oh, cool. But the last Zelda game I played was, Skyward Sword. So I got like 4 or 5 Zelda games to catch up on before I can play the new one. Like that's
you just gotta watch all the sequels first.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. But like, when you do that, when you do everything in order and you get that like little Easter egg that no one else got, but you did because you played that one weird Japanese game that no one else played. It's wonderful.
No, that's completely fair, especially when it comes to Digimon, because the lore is the entire universe. Like everything is important to the Digimon universe. It's not like, well, that game was a one-off, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of games were one-off, but like because the way the Digimon franchise is like everything's encompassing of a lore, you know what I'm saying? So like the Digimon games have their own lore for it. You got the manga that gave it more lore. You got anime that gives it more lore, and like everything else that pops up. Even like the Japanese games that we don't have is like super important to like, to the story of Digimon.
Century.
Yeah, and now with that one, right? I don't know what the story is for that, but like we're getting brand new Digimon off of it.
I got the story.
They're giving China, all the cool shenanigans over there.
So here's the story. It is published by a publisher called Tencent, which is a big Chinese conglomeration. And Tencent does not normally. Oh, that's not what you said. You said, I don't know what the story behind. Basically, you insinuated that you don't know why we have the game over here. For the audience, since Dan knows, Dan is all knowing. We don't have the game over here because the publisher that makes the game is a Chinese conglomerate. And generally, most Chinese conglomerates keep things within China. They don't extend things out of China unless it's like beneficial to them in some sort, such as TikTok. TikTok was originally Musical.ly, and it was not owned by TikTok, some other company, until it was bought over and it became the global phenom that it is currently. But for Digimon New Century, that is published and developed by Tencent or some other Chinese company, and none of their gacha games leave China. All of their gacha games stay strictly in China. They're not distributed anywhere else. And it's to the point where you have to have a WeChat account. And I think WeChat is like the Chinese like official, like it's like WhatsApp, but like on an official basis for the entire country. It's like if you don't have like a WeChat account, you don't have, I guess, like a life kind of thing. It's like the equivalence. No, I'm serious. It's like the equivalence of not having Facebook over here. But like, because somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I understand it. Like, it's to that point where it's like WeChat is used for like everything. Like, it's the platform in China. So unfortunately, we can't get WeChat accounts over here. So I wish we could. That's why we can't play the game.
But I know I'm trying to play everything. So I'm trying to do all the Digimon media from the beginning to where we are now. And right now I'm at one of the DS games, Lost Evolution, I think it's called. But
Lost Evolution, what the hell is that?
It was only released in
Japanese
Japan.
Game?
Yeah, it's a Japanese only one, but we got a fan translation.
Is it Digimon World?
No, it's a story game.
No.
Oh, Digimon Story for the DS. That's a new one.
Yeah, story games are always awesome. But because, and Bandai does this with a lot of their franchises, because each piece of Digimon media is different, sometimes drastically, it makes it so fresh to go through. Like, you can binge like Digimon content after Digimon content after Digimon content, and you'll get a different experience every time. Even just the games are drastically different from series to series.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, because like if you just look at just the Digimon World game collections, especially like the first three, they're completely different games that are just like, it makes no sense like how to correlate. They just call it Digimon World 1, 2, and 3, and just three different types of games.
Completely different, all three of them. Yeah.
The only time that things actually correlated was Digimon World 1. Then you had Digimon World Redigitized, which it's not the same. I think it's the same world, but it's not like the same character, so it doesn't continue. But then you have like Digimon World Next Order. That's a actual like follow up to Digimon World 1. Yeah.
Well, I think the other big thing is like the difference between, for everybody, obviously everybody who listens to this are a Digimon fan. The arguments that you guys can use against the Pokemon knuckleheads and the people who are very ignorant is, well, Pokemon and Digimon, I think Pokemon still came first, but they generally came around at the same time, just as separate things. In Japanese, it's called Pokemon because it stands for pocket monsters, and Digimon for digital monsters. It's two different things. They're both monsters. It's why I say it's unfortunate that everything gets related back to Pokemon, because Pokemon was not the first monster game. There were others that preceded it, and Digimon is obviously another one that uses the monster concept, right? But the big thing with Digimon compared to Pokemon is Pokemon, you have these strict evolution lines. And in Digimon, well, my Agumon could turn into a fucking Numamon. Or if you fuck up, did you know? If you fuck up, it could turn into a Sukumon.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
So, because there's that interoperability of, well, this can digivolve into that all the way over there, they have that flexibility within their media, and we're seeing this. We're about to see it 4 days away with Liberators coming up.
Let's go.
Because we're getting, what is it? There's the Nature Spirits line, which is like, all of that stuff looks like it's going to be, I mean, obviously it looks to be based off of the Digimon Pendulum, which I believe is the new color one coming out, right?
Nature Spirit is not new. It's just they're finally
Nature Spirits isn't
implementing
new.
like the groups into the card game.
Right. But Nature Spirits isn't new, but like the lines, like you see a Gotsumon, and generally when you think Gotsumon, you're like, all right, well, this digivolves into like some rock type shit. Like, you know, you have the old Gogmon, the Blastmon. You may have, I don't know, whatever it can cross digivolve into, maybe like a Gardromon or something.
The palette swaps, you got the Icemon, the Meteormon.
Yeah, you got the palette swaps.
Yep.
But in this one coming up, that Gotsumon is the rookie for Eldradimon.
Right.
And I don't know what the level 5 is going to be yet because they haven't unveiled it, but I know there's a thing in the Pendulum. I just don't remember what the Digimon are. But it's just really cool because, to your point, it's like, all right, cool. Well, I guess this time we can still keep Gotsumon, but maybe we'll have him digivolve into a Vidramon. Because Digimon can do that.
That's a little wild, but I got you.
I mean, you know,
it's fluid.
You know, correct me if I'm wrong. Is Tai was the rookie for V-Tamer, the Gabumon, right? No, it just was no rookie.
He didn't have a rookie. He jumped right in with Vidramon, and Gabo, the Gabumon, just kind of became like a companion.
Oh, yeah, I believe technically it's an Agumon though.
Probably.
It would make sense. And then there you go. An Agumon that could digivolve into either a Vidramon, a Tyrannomon, or a Greymon. And there was another one in Survive. The Tuskmon. There we go. So it's like, there's just so much flexibility. It's why I love Digimon, because Digimon is just open. You can do anything. Did you guys know? There's a fan-made comic that's been going on since like 2018. Did you know? There's like a fan-made comic that's been going on since like 2018 called Digimon Liberation. And like they like print it and stuff.
I didn't know.
And I'm like, what the hell is this? I just saw it on Twitter and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to check this out. Because like they have it like literally printed in book form. And I'm like, bro, where has this been? I want to consume more Digimon media. And the fact that like I'm just now hearing about this is an actual travesty, especially because I was like, oh wait, they printed Liberators? No. That's called Liberation.
Interesting.
What?
Yeah.
So,
what language is it like?
I think it's just in English.
Okay.
When I'll try to find the post and I'll send it to you because
cool.
I know that's up your alleyway.
For sure.
But yeah, I love Digimon. In the words of the famous Dan Vang, I love Digimon. You know, we have to get Dan Vang on here one day.
For sure.
True.
All right. So y'all know who he is. Gino was brought on because he came to me and he said, listen, Varney, I have idea for content. And
That's
I
how
said,
I sound.
That's exactly how he sounds. That's how everybody sounds when they come to me. And I was like, all right, Gino, what's your content? And he was like, did you know? And I was like, did you know? You're in. I was like, say less. That is the brightest thing I've ever heard. So you can check it out on YouTube and on TikTok. TikTok is super weird. I'm going to let you guys know that TikTok is such a weird platform. Maybe it's because I'm a fucking millennial and I don't understand how TikTok works. But I've posted talking head videos that have garnered 600 views for me just standing there with my phone, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Gino puts all this nice work into this video. I upload it. And the first thing I get that TikTok tells me is, your video is ineligible for the For You page. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, it features a logo. I was like, you mean our logo? Our logo? They're like, yeah, it looks like it's copyrighted content, or that, you know, it's just a low quality content. I was like, have you watched this fucking video, TikTok? So my theory is that those videos are not doing well on TikTok because of AI, essentially, is what it boils down to. Some dumbass algorithm. But YouTube Shorts works just as well. You can check it out on TikTok if you follow us there, or on our YouTube Shorts. They go up every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. So look forward to them. They're nice little tidbits of knowledge. There is so much Digimon lore. There is so much. It just feels like You can never know everything. Like I watched them and I'm like, oh shit, no, yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty fucking cool. But just
if you're like a big Digimon fan, like, and you know like a lot of Digimon lore, just pick up a card and actually look at it. Like actually look at the background and what's happening, and it's probably a reference to something. It's really cool.
Oh, 100%. I think probably like 90% of their cards are like that.
A good deal for sure.
And
it's one thing that
lore too.
Oh yeah, aren't they? But it's what I love about like you can tell the people who make the game actually like the game. Even you can even say love Digimon. The artist alone. I mean, so I was looking it up the other day. You know Naochika Morishita, the one who draws the realistic arts. You know, apparently he was working for Bandai when he was like 8 years old.
Damn, I did not know that.
Did you know?
I did not know that. That one's now.
Yeah. Non-stop things.
Write me a script.
It could be, I could be wrong, and it could be another artist, but I believe we were talking about Naochika that day.
Yeah, that was in in a group chat.
In the Connecticut group chat.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was just interested because I was like, wow, his arts have just been getting better, because I didn't like his arts to start, but lately his realistic arts have just been.
Is he the same one that did the Mallow, the original Mallow R?
I think so.
I wouldn't know. Don't ask me. All I know him for his realism
versions,
arts.
like that and the Dark Knight, because those were like one of the best.
For the Mallow, are you talking about the BT, like the BT3?
Yeah, BTA.
One?
No, BTA.
Oh, BTA. Oh, that Mallow. Oh yeah, he probably did that because he's the only one who does
like
the realistic,
like the realistic looking ones. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one who does that type of art style. I'm sure Gino's looking it up, so let's see if I can look it up.
It's actually not Morishita. It's Ishibashi Yosuke.
That's for the regular art. The alternate art is by Naochika.
Yeah, I'm talking
the alt art is not Naochika. Unless
that's what the.
No. Okay, so
yeah,
I had to look at it real close. That is Naochika. Yeah.
Yeah, Naochika Morishita.
That's like one of the best arts in the game, in my opinion.
Gorgeous.
Like the card might not be the greatest, but that card art.
I lied. It's not Naochika because he's 53 years old, so it's definitely not him. I think it was the Emperor, whoever the artist of the Emperor Grey, or like the Ultimate Cup line.
Okay.
Whoever the artist is on those really cards. I mean, those are fire.
I'm a filthy Koki fan. Those it's fluffy, one of them. Like watercolory.
It's not Tessie. Nope, it's not that either.
I love it.
One of the artists, I'll just put it that way. One of the artists in the Digimon card game. He was like born in I want to say it was like 1991. Because I was like, wow, he's not that much older than us. And I was like, wait, he drew for Digimon Digital Card Battle? I was like, what? There's no way.
That's awesome.
He drew like 6 cards. I can tell you. Let's see if we can look it up in a timely manner here. Digimon Digital Card Battle. It was the Zoodlemon that he drew. I'm not going to be able to look that up easily. But he drew the Zoodlemon and like a few other cards, like at least 4 to 5 other cards. And I was like, didn't that game come out in 1995? And it ran from 1995 to 2005. So I was like, this guy was out here working for Bandai, just drawing art casually somewhere between the ages of like 8 to 12. But like,
you talking about this card?
Ooh, does Dan have it? Or are you looking the card up? Yes. Yeah, that.
He drew that?
Yeah, he drew that.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I got that bad boy in my binder.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure I have one of those too.
Yeah, he drew that card, and he drew quite a few of the other cards from Digital Card Battle. So it's like, he still draws for the card game. And it's like, wow, he must really like Digimon. If not only was he doing it when he was young, but he's still doing it to today. And then, to my point, now Chica's like 56 and he's drawing art. You've got just all these other artists who like do things and you're like, wow, that's like really good. And you wouldn't draw those arts unless you like know Digimon, unless you've been
100%.
Doing it for the last, not even 10, like the last 15, the last 20 years. The Analog Youth alt art,
Ooh, fire.
Drawn by
phenomenal.
drawn by like one of the most illustrious in the Digimon card game, whose name I'm currently forgetting. So forgive
That's
me
a top
while I look
5
it up.
for me, for sure.
It's definitely a top 5, and its artist is Kenji Watanabe. I can't believe I forgot that.
That's the dude who made it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So like you just look at the art, and like to Gino's point, when you look at this, you're just like, oh my goodness, cool. It's so colorful. It got like all the Digimon on it, but like look at it. There's a skull Miramon, or a Miramon. It's probably a Miramon, just chilling in a building in the back. And on the opposite side, there's a hill with a mansion with what looks like not a demi-devi, well, maybe it is a demi-devi or a Soundbird, some sort of like bat creature like flying out of it. Like all these references, even the virus Metal Greymon, the original, Metal Greymon that a lot of people won't know. Like, you wouldn't know that unless you're just a Digimon fan. Did you know? So
it's Devimon chilling on the back left.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a Devimon? Okay. Oh, he's just like chilling up on a perch. Okay, that makes more sense. Like,
and you got a little Chumon. You got a little Chumon coming out of the sewers too.
I didn't even see. There you go.
Going on. I love it.
It's such a beautiful art, and like this is the type of stuff I would like love to get blown up and put on my wall, because we have phenomenal arts in this card game, but we only have phenomenal arts because our artists are amazing. They love the game. They really do hold a good love for Digimon.
I really think Digimon, the card game, has like top 2, top 3 best arts in the game in all of TCGs. Like that's how beautiful some of those cards are. That's one of the things that
drew me to Digimon for sure, because like you look at like a Pokemon card or a Magic card, it's like you got that little box and then you got your text. But like with Digimon, man, the art is just, it's not only beautiful, but it takes up like the whole card, and not just like full arts, but like, it's just like, just look at this card, dude. You know what I mean? And it's like,
bro, you have regular arts that have you sitting there like,
every time I look at Leviathan X, every time I think that's an AI.
No, but like off the rip, for me, like immediate thought of it's the Prince Mamimon, the King Edamon, and
those are really good. I love those.
Chaos Ramon X too. So like those 3 cards right there are like such great. Crazy arts. Just regular, they're just rares and they're just beautiful arts.
Yeah, it's just they went way too hard.
Oh, for sure.
Even like just hard enough.
Even like Dianamon has such a phenomenal regular art that I almost prefer it over the alternate art. Like her alternate art is cool, don't get me wrong, but the regular art just has her standing there like a fucking boss. You could see everything clearly. Like you could see the clear depiction of like what Dianamon is as a Digimon, and you're like, wow, that's boss. That's boss AF. Yeah, and that's 100%. A regular art.
Same thing with Apollo. Like, Apollo's really nice too.
Apollo really cool has a really nice alternate art as well, or regular art, and I do kind of like it more than the alternate art for Apollo, definitely.
Ooh, I don't know. That art in person is kind of fire.
I mean, it is, maybe it's because I haven't seen it in person, but I do like, it's just, there's so many regular arts that are just really good in this card game. And I mean, Pokemon has great arts. One Piece, they have some good arts. They have better arts now than they did at the beginning of the game. But I think Digimon just has
oof, that was not fair.
Early game, they just didn't have artists. I'll be frank. Like they had a couple for maybe like half of the set, because most of the cards were screen caps.
Screenshots. Yeah.
Yep. I think now I wouldn't say every card is drawn, but I would say maybe most of the cards are drawn.
Yeah, my favorite card. No, I was just saying, like my favorite card art in that game, at least from what I've seen, is the I forget his name, the dude with the ice powers. Or whatever.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, the Ice Admiral, former Admiral.
Yeah, him.
Kuzan. Yep. There we go. Kuzan.
His cards they go hard. No lie.
Yeah, and they have really good artists for that, but that didn't start. I mean, because I don't think there was really any arts. I mean, Bolo is pretty cool in set 1, but that wasn't like phenomenal or anything. Boris art, no, I'll say Mihawk was pretty cool. For those of you who know One Piece cards, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you'd probably also agree that One Piece art didn't start getting better till later on, and Digimon just had banger art from the door.
Off the rip, in my opinion.
Just look back at BT1 Omnimon. That shit. I mean, 100%. First of all, obviously
just
everybody thought that was going to be the next, like, regular art is great, That alternate art for BT1 Omni though.
100%.
Well, that's an Omnimon. There's no doubt about that. That's an Omnimon.
But like off the rip,
So-
you had the BT1 War Greymon art. My God, that goes so hard.
That's fire. Yep. Not even that. Like just looking at the fact that like all of set 2 and 3 alt arts were themed.
The gold backgrounds.
I love that. I love that so much.
The digital background and then the like I guess more like colorized, characterized arts. Those two styles makes me wish that some of those cards were playable in today's day and age because the arts are way too good to justify for what
100%.
some of those cards do. Like Kreskarurumon, such a rager art that on a card that is never, I would like to say never ever going to see play again. Maybe in some
Not anymore.
very
It costs too
niche
much.
case,
Yeah.
but it costs too much. It does too little, and it's in 11K. Like,
If only there was some sort of retro series where you could go back and play old cards.
That'd be cool, pretty cool.
sounds
Someone's
a lot
heard it.
like a retro rumble. Retro
I like
rumble?
that. That sounds good.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, wouldn't you guys like to know? All right, so moving on, let's talk about it. Locals happened this past weekend. Everybody except Adrian was there. Psych, Adrian arrived later, and then Mike left. So DGU, once again, not in the same building at the same time. Unfortunately, Mike did not get to shoot his TikTok.
So close.
So close, but yet so far away. And it's about to be even farther away as he moves. But that's a topic for another day. I'll ask him how the scene is down in Virginia in about 2 months. I know he said there's a locals or the shop
nearby
is
him or something
moving
like that.
to where he's going to be. So let's see if it pops off. It would be nice that he can keep playing Digimon because otherwise, I guarantee you, he's going to be like, I think I want to sell my Digimon stuff. I'm just going to keep my Imperial stuff.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But I played. I'm not going to talk about my experience because my experience was poor. I decided to play Vaccine, and then I regretted my life immediately after deciding to play Vaccine.
Yellow
After I
Vaccine.
realized that it's the only viable Vaccine deck. Don't tell me Red Vaccine right now.
Technically a deck, man. That's all I'm
Don't
gonna
tell
say.
me Red Vaccine right now. If Red
Burbs
Vaccine
is a
ever
deck.
becomes a deck, I would
Burbs
call it
is a deck.
Burbs. I would call it Burbs. But I decided to play Yellow Vaccine, and I hated my life because I realized, wow, I'm not actually a Yellow player because Yellow does not like me. And I almost sold the deck until Dan talked me off of a cliff, and then I decided to come home and put it in my binder and wait until EX6 when I get all the nice shiny new Angel stuff. Then I'll decide if Yellow still hates me. But until then, I'm done playing Yellow. I went back to trusty old Magnamon because Magnamon never treats me wrong. And I had a lot of fun with it. That's the key thing at the end of the day. Play what you like. Play what's fun. Don't play to be scum. I mean, I wasn't playing to be scum. I really was interested in playing the deck. But again, I should have known better. There's a reason I didn't pick that deck to play for the Ultimate Cup and why I picked Magnamon instead. There's a reason that deck has been sitting in my drawer while I built every other deck and tried every other deck. And it's because this happens at the end of the day every time. So I'm done with Yellow for now. Moving on to bigger and better colors, i.e. blue. I'm a blue main now. I'm a dirty, disgusting blue main.
You know, you
That's
say all this, but like next set, it becomes basically like a yellow deck. So like, you know, you're going
That's what he
right back
says,
to
but
yellow.
Nah, I'm playing blue base, baby. We're not playing
That's
vaccine
fine. You're
armors.
still gonna play Blinding Rays and Heaven's Judgment and all that good
Nah,
stuff.
joke's on you. I'm not gonna play any of that. I'm just gonna free ball it out here. I'm gonna rely on the power of friendship, i.e. alliance.
Or miracles.
Piercing and miracles. I can play Kosuke in that deck too. I'll just get piercing.
True.
Sure.
Yes. Go ahead, Dan. How was your locals experience?
It was all right. Frustrated
Better
about
than mine.
round 2. Went 2-1, got third. I assumed I was gonna get, cause you know I lost to the winner and I was with 2-1. I thought I was gonna get the bump over Gino, but
I lucked out.
as per usual, I don't have the luck when it comes to either placements or security or anything that revolves luck or ratio or percentages or something. Anyways, I was playing Dark Master Omni Zoo. Love playing that deck. And after my changes I had made, it feels even better for me at least. So that's pretty cool. I played against round 1. I played against Hunters. That was a swift 2-0. Poor Mike. Rest in peace, Mike, whenever we see him ever again. I didn't know that was going to be such a easy matchup for OmniZoo, because they have to have 4 tamers on board to like tug things most times on a consistent basis, because you're a level 6 or 7. So yeah, at least 3, I think, for 6, right? For the superior mode.
Yeah.
Is it 3 tamers for the 6 for level 6? Yep. So you need to
3
guarantee
different colored.
Yeah. So he needs to find them all.
Exactly. And then if I'm chilling at 7, you need 4. But there's a card called Omnimon Zord Defeat, which I was purposely just swinging over his bodies to let him, save. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll just go Omnimon Zord Defeat and kill that as tamer, and you're missing pieces now. Hit, I think it was Matt. Ty and Matt. So my Omnimon swinging for 2 checks. Mega Gargo is such a great card in that deck now.
In any deck.
A consistent way. Yeah, for sure. Especially now running 4 Cherrymon and 4 Gigadramon. Give you that consistent green black ace play, which is cool. And what else? Yeah, so I actually put that. I put that card up to 4. I figured we're gonna just run 4 of this thing, because I was running War Greymon, and I had 2 of that and then 2 Mega Gargo. Why play War Greymon when I could play, Mega Gargo instead, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
So that was like my thought process, and you can still play it off of Omnimon Zord if you need to, which in hindsight it should have been. So round 2, hindsight, that should have been what I should have done against O-Force, because now he has to think about dealing with 3 bodies instead of 2, and he was able to deal with both bodies I had. So if you would have had that 3rd, he might have purposely focused on Mega Gargo first, and then I had the option to blast Digivolve over the Gigadramon, I think it was. Hindsight 2020 type of thing, I lost that round because I didn't count his deck, and I had a Pokemon.
For shame.
Yeah. He had 8 cards, and I decided to mill 6 instead of the 8 that I could have had. And I was so pissed off, because I was just like, I just gave you a free W because it was just my W to be had, super frustrating. And then game two was a rough one. That was round 3. I didn't have like the best hand, I think it was. I didn't have much going, but I had this consistent play of game 1, 2, and then he won game 2, just for the record. We decided to play like a 3rd one just to see how things would popped up. I feel like if it was a legit game, round 3, I think things would have happened differently. But all 3 games that we played, kid you not, I went Mega Gargo, swing for the first check, so he's at 4, unsuspend, swing, and O-Force was legit. That check every single time, and my Mega Gargo died, and I passed turn every time, and that was like the swing of everything, because like I would have like an Evo to go over, something like that, and like to do more things and like combo off more, and that just like stunted my plays so much. I was just like, there's just no way. The third game we played, I was like, there's absolutely no way there's an All-Force right there. And I said it out loud. I was like, there's just no way you have an All-Force chilling there for the second swing. And mind you, I had the hindsight. I was like, I had enough memory to do it. I'll just Evo to Zord Defeat. Even though he had no tamers to pop, I'll just do it so it doesn't die, because I'm going to hit to All-Force. I was like, nah, there's just no way. Swing, All-Force. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is just not real life. This is not real life at all.
You need some yamming on that.
Yeah, right. So lost round 2, then round 3 played against Mastermind, won that 2-0. In Mercy mode, Mastermind hurts a lot. You just bomb deck 10 cards, and if they have Flame Hellscythe, they can't bring anything bad, because you bottom deck all their ultimates or new champions, and if you left them rookies, they're kind of irrelevant at the moment for them.
Yep.
Because you're not getting no on-play effects or anything like that. So that's what happened. Mercy mode was pretty good. Game 2 lasted way longer than it should have, because I did mulligan my hand, and I had one level 6, and that's the only level 6 I have for like 6-7 turns or something like that. It was something terrible.
Yeah, you should have mulled that hand.
Yeah, 100%. I was like, I'm hoping this Lady's Ever gets me everywhere I need. It didn't. Yeah, so I went 2-1, got third. Probably gonna run it back again next week because I feel like I could definitely win with that deck, like a tournament, and not just be like second or third place with it.
So before we move on to your locals experience, Gino, I just want to correct myself from earlier in pod. So I was talking about the artist. So first of all, it wasn't Digital Card Battle that they were working on. That was the actual PS1 card game.
Yeah,
it
you're
was
talking about like the actual 90s game, right?
Yeah, it was the like original, like digital monster card game. That ran from 95 to 99 to 2005. On top of that, so his name is Nakano Haito. He was born in 91. So yeah, he's like 30 something, like 32, 33 right now, I think. So if he was working on that card game, and that ran from 99 to 2005, at minimum, he was 8. And at most, he was like 15. No, not even. He was like 14.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's funny, ain't it? Now, I just want to give a shout out to his credits for whatever age he started working on it. This is what he's worked on, right? So he worked on Cyber Sleuth. He did the key visuals for the Royal Knights. He worked on Next Order for the promotional artwork. He worked on App Monsters for the Appmon design and the chip illustration. Obviously, the digital monster card game and the Digimon card game. He also did illustration for the Battle Spirits collab sets in Japan for the Digimon crossovers. And then the Digimon that he designed, Barbamon X, Belphamon X, he designed the recent Sendromon and Chaperomon.
Oh, shit.
So, like, that's
cool.
big. He designed, like, a lot of the X antibodies. Cherubimon, Vice and Virtue, Dracomon X, Gankumon, Impmon, Lilith, Ophani Fall Down Mode. What the hell is a Pegasmon? I never even heard of that one. And Pegasmon had
Pegasusmon?
No, well, I guess Pegasusmon? It's called Pegasmon here on the wiki, which looks boss AF. Good lord, that's a card.
It's not Pegasusmon?
It's literally, it's called Pegasmon. Pegasmon.
I'm about to look it up right now.
Pegasmon X Antibody looks like a fucking boss, let me tell you. It evolves from Jazzamon, Lopmon, Pegasmon, or Ryutamon, so it must be an armor Digi-evolution. Yeah, it's the Digimental of Hope. But like, it looks boss AF. Reflegiamon, Shushumon. Like, this guy, he ain't that old, and he's got some heavy hitters behind him already. Like, he loves this card game. Let me tell you that. Oh, that's why we were looking him up.
Oh yeah,
he did the
Pegas.
He did the SPs.
Pegasmon is the fish, like the
Japanese
direct translation. So Pegasmon is just Pegasusmon.
Okay.
And Pegasusmon,
Yeah,
I didn't know he had an X antibody form. That shit look crazy.
Doesn't it?
He looks tough.
Absolutely nuts. And this guy, like 91. So he's one of us. Like, he's one of us. So you can tell, like, there's just love behind what he does. The reason we were talking about him is because he's the one who did the Venusmon and the other cards from the Heroine set for the 4 Digimon. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, that art it's so, like, it's just really, really good. And I was like, yo, Nakano, that he's a G for that one. But looking at the other ones he's done, the SPs that are coming out,
those are
he
cool.
also did the Worlds cards, the Digicode cards. Bro, you can tell from the moment I saw the Digicode cards, I was like, somebody was a fucking nerd over when they were designing these cards. You can tell it now. It was Nakano. What a G, bro. I am so enamored with him. But anyways,
pretty good.
Enough of that derailing. So Gino, how was your locals experience?
Sadly, I had the round 1 bye, which I hate. Whenever I go to locals, I just want to play Digimon. That's why I'm at locals. I just want to play. So it sucks to get the round 1 bye, but I'll take the easy win, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it also gave me a chance to walk around and see what everybody else was playing, because Varney was playing Yellow Vaccine, and that's what I wanted to play. I was like, oh man. And there's one thing to know about me. Like I said, I play a lot of games, so I play a lot of fighting games. I hate playing mirror matches. I hate it in everything. I hate it in fighting games. I hate it in card games. I hate the mirror match. I'm like, if I come up against Varney, we're both playing the same deck, I'm just gonna have a bad time. So I decided to pick Jellymon, which apparently got a top the other day. So good deck, I guess. I like Jellymon, but Jellymon was cool. So I had the round 1 bye. The round 2, I went against Gamamon, and our Gamamon player made 2 really bad misplays that just basically won me the game. Game 1, he tried to raid into my level 5 when I had the ace in hand, and I was just easily telegraphing that I'm about to ace into my Amphimon ace. So he swung into that, exploded, and I got to bounce his tamer that he played that same turn. And then I swung 2 checks jamming, and then I blitz omni'd 2 more checks, and he's like, yeah, there's nothing else I can do next turn to stop you. So, because it gains sec +1. So it can be cracked.
Yep.
And then game 2, I had a pretty wide board, but I had RB1 Amphimon on field, and he goes, okay, Gaia Force, kill it. And I'm like, okay, cool, protection. And now I have 7 memory to do whatever I want with, and no downside at all. So, pretty quick 2-0. I know.
Gaia Force in today's economy, man.
Yeah, that man, he's got some spicy text. I don't know if spicy is the right word. Zesty text. That man, he's running. He's running
zesty.
Gargomon, the Mega Gargo Ace in his Gamamon deck. So that's some zest for you. Anyway. Then I lost, obviously, to the person who won.
There's most definitely some zest.
It's fully understandable for me to run that card in like the OmniZoo deck. Like Gamamon, you just lose everything when it comes to the inheritables and all them effects if you go to Mega Gargo. Yeah.
No, because you have the level 5 that gives your whatever DigiPod is on top of it.
Because that's the only green one that it can go on.
But you can't, because you're going to have the green one.
Well,
you have to have the green one.
Yeah, exactly. But it has the inheritable that literally just gives all of the effects underneath to whatever Digimon's on top. So
okay. I thought it has to still be like Gamma in the name.
No, it's a cute engine. It's just that Gamamon takes up. It's such a large engine. Right. You generally don't play with anything other than Gamamon.
All that other sort of stuff. But and then final round, I played obviously against the All Force player who won. Shout out to Carlos. Game 1, I bricked super hard. I know you hate to see it. You hate to hear it on pod, but he beat me before I moved my first egg out of raising. That's how bad it was, because I never found that rookie. And there was nothing I could really hard play or do anything to, because it would just immediately get bounced by All Force. And then game 2, first 3 checks were all Rena.
I wish I had God on my side sometimes. Jesus. When it comes to the card game, you're like, oh my God. Like, I've never had as an All Force. I played a lot of All Force. That has never happened to me.
That's how I feel about yellow. I'm like, can you hit something good in security for me? Can you not hit like the pieces that I actually want to have in my hand? That's what happened against Carlos too. He hit my security. I was like, oh, level 4, I could have used that. Oh, another rookie, I could have used that. Oh, my ace, I definitely could have used that. I was like, oh, nice. And then Carlos out here, Hammer Spark. I don't know if he runs Hammer Spark. I'm just saying Hammer Spark, Tamer, Mem Boost, or in Gino's case,
Triple Rena,
Mem Boost, Full Moon Meteor
Listen,
Impact.
I have usually a pretty cracked security, but nothing compared to Carlos on Sunday, man. Holy shit.
Triple Rena. That's so crazy.
That is funny. I mean, in a way, that's like bad, right? Because like you want those Renas in hand, but at the same time,
how about 3?
Giving All Force a free Rena. How about 3? How about I bounce anything back to hand? How about that?
That pretty much sums up locals. We stayed extra, played some extra games. I'm working on a fun Augu Bond list. I think I'm starting to come together a little bit here, but
Augu Bond. I think it could do something. It's just unfortunate that like Augu Bond was obviously created to be the lesser of the two between that and Gabu Bond. Always will be a menace to society.
I feel like this is what's Bandai thought process when it comes to Gabumon and Agumon. They know Agumon is like the standard and like the face of Digimon, so they purposely go in designing both of them, and they're like, we have to make Agumon a little less stronger than Gabumon, so like we can keep those Gabumon fans, okay, because we can't have Agumon be too overpowered, because then if we do, then like the game just might go bad. But we're gonna have Gabumon that's gonna be broken.
Well, it's
for
like
no reason.
I think,
and most times. Like, I feel like they go in on purpose to thinking like that. Like, they purposely is like, all right, we're going to keep Agumon a little chill. But Gabumon, yeah,
well,
we're going to make him
Agumon,
crack.
I feel like okay, that deck is either going to punch or it's going to be the shield. He's got the shield on his back. That's like his thing. But then Gabumon is like the fast deck because it can swing multiple times.
Sure.
That emulates like, oh, he's attacking you quickly. But that's just better in a card game. So like...
Yeah.
Listen, nobody here likes big wolfy boy swinging at your security saying, oh, ho, ho, I'm wearing pants, and this is why I can knock down your security 3 times at level 5, and then I'll digivolve into a metal Garurumon, and then I'm just going to bounce all your stuff. It's just so annoying. I hate Gabumon. It's funny, too, because, like, I'm a fan of all Digimon. But like at one point I liked Gabumon a lot. And I like Gabumon because Matt was a bitch. Matt is a bitch. I'll say that. Yamato Ishida, Cliff, Matt's a bitch.
For sure.
100%.
But Gabumon is a G. Because Gabumon was like, Matt.
he's his perfect foil. He really is.
Bring it in.
Yeah, 100%.
Bring it in. So I love Gabumon for that. But after seeing what Gabumon's done to me in multiple formats,
fan,
bro,
so I started playing the
Oh my
game.
god, same. I love getting my Gabumon and his line in like every video game and stuff. But the card game, God, I hate him with a passion.
It never fails. It never fails. All right, so we talked about this. Mike and I did. We talked about this because this was part of our conversation on the last podcast. But because you guys weren't here, I'm just going to read out these poll results real quick. This one is for Dan. I said, would Numemon still be the force that it is without Promo Ukamon? Out of 14 total votes with the answers of yes, no, and other, 8 people said, hell no. 5 people said, yeah, why not? And those aren't the actual answers, just say yes and no. And then one person said others. So the majority of people say that no, Numemon would not be the force that it is without Promo Ukomon. Then the poll question was, what do you think of the job Bandai's done thus far with power creep in the Digimon card game? Guz says Bandai's done a really good job of managing everything. Until Apocalypse, which was more of a power leap. Sax says a fair pace, older decks still work because of new synergy, which is always a concern. Nobody wants to come back to a game and need a whole new playstyle and deck for decks that they prefer or a style that they prefer. Jay Stort says power creep is needed as you said. Bandai has seemed to start giving support for older decks a lot more now. Walker says, I think the power creep just goes in big cycles. Big Stack gets their crazy effects, and then they make a lot of single target control, and then they make decks that go wide, and then we loop back around. Yep. R. Totten says, I agree, power creep can be necessary for relevancy, but I'm afraid of the way of Yu-Gi-Oh! He had said, I'm curious of your thoughts on Magic, which Mike said in our last podcast. It's been around for a long time, but power creep is not as heavy as others. So Mike commented on that. If you guys are interested in that, this is the last podcast. And Aaron said, power creep is fine, but they need to take another look at the restrictions list. Greymon X should be lifted, so Greymon has a better chance against 100%. These faster decks, which I think most sane people can now agree with after seeing how hard it is for Greymon to compete in the current competitive environment. Now, moving on to last podcast.
I don't get to reply to that first poll.
I mean, you could reply to it if you want. What do you want to say?
I just want to say Numemon will still be a tier 1 deck.
I was going to say you can hold on because this question actually kind of factors into it. So on our interview with Nightmare, I had asked, which card do you think is most likely to get hit on the next ban list? Choose all that apply. We got 25 total votes. The card that's on everybody's mind, the card that everybody hates, you already know it. It's Promo Ukomon. 10 votes for Promo Ukomon. We only got, as a matter of fact, I didn't even put Numemon X here, surprisingly. I just had BT16 Ukomon, Emissary of Hope, BT14 Pada, Heaven's Judgment, BT16 Magna X, and other. So 3 people said other. 2 votes for Magna X, 3 votes for Judgment, 4 votes for Pada, 1 vote for Emissary, which is funny. That's really funny,
but that's
actually.
the card that should be actually be hit if any of those cards get hit. But all right.
And then 2 votes for BT16 Uko. I didn't put Numa because like I don't think banning Numa X is a thing that's needed. I think that deck is perfectly fine with Numa X. It's really just the shenanigans it's capable of doing and how fast it's capable of doing it with Ukomon. That's in my opinion. But now you can comment a little bit more if you want, Dan, on Promo Ukomon and its potential ban.
Sure. I mean, I don't think it needs to be banned. But I'm sure because of the crying Digimon players that we have, and they listen to them a lot, unfortunately. Numemon will still be a tier 1 threat, even with Promo Ukomon at 1. I fully believe that because of the style of deck it is a champion rush deck that can facilitate itself with just swarming the board with different Digimon. Monze X is such a cracked card. Monzemon, go into a Monzemon or War Monzemon, and then go into Monze X, dropping more bodies, get wider, get crazier. You can. This is probably the first. I could be wrong with this, but one of the first few decks where you can just drop a level 6 for free, like it's nothing. And that hasn't really been seen like that in the card game, to be able to just drop a 6 like that with no problem. Just the thought process of that. Just like
it
think about it. It
requires more work because Don Devi, you could have dropped the Don Devi, but it required more setup.
Yeah, it's sorry. Sure, and Mallow too. But I think those setups were way more crazier because legit, it's just like, all right, turn 1, drop Garymon, try to play a new one, go into a Numemon X, that Numemon X dies, there's play a new one, right? Like that's a basic combo you can potentially do, which is super easy. Off that one combo, you just draw 2 cards, you trash the cards, set up, you evo for free for another draw, and then you just, get a Platinum Numemon that has an effect that, on play, you can trash a Numemon from hand, gain 2 more memory, and you're facilitating your trash more, and now you can set up for a level 7. Like, this is one of the few decks that can just do that easily. So just that premise alone makes it a really good deck, because like, what decks is doing that out here, right? Like, obviously you can hard play 6s in Devas, but like you're paying something to do it, right? Like, it's free to just drop a new one, and it's obviously a memory game plus. So even with Promo Ukomon at 1 or 0, the deck to me will still be a tier 1 menace, just like Red Hybrid is a tier 1, tier 1.5 deck, even without Ukomon, because it just does what it does. It's still going to do the shenanigans that Red Hybrid does. Come on, it still would. Like, in this meta, like, it just wouldn't matter what another deck does sometimes with Red Hybrid, unless you can have Machijima on board. Like, there's nothing you do about Red Hybrid, or you're playing Black or Greymon and you're popping tables.
Numemon
right?
being black and yellow is just
essence.
So great for it. Like, there's so many good options you can go into off of playing it for free. It's like, all right, boom, ruin mode, you're shut down for your next turn. You go. There's just you go Sword Defeat, like a lot of people are doing now. You can go into Mercy mode. You can go into Dex if you need to. You can go into any level 7 that's really prominent on the purple.
There's almost nothing you can't. There's almost nothing you can't go into because they touch on like the 2 colors.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. The red blue specific stuff that don't matter.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. But like even like Millenniumon, like that's black and purple.
100%. Yeah.
You got the black side of it.
Yep.
Like,
we have in this game.
Maybe I don't
know why.
Maybe I should play that in my Numemon deck.
Hey, don't tempt me with a good time playing Millenniumon.
An oldie but a goodie, am I right?
Yeah, right. Bomb deck of Digimon, and then
Millennia X confirmed, or no, sorry, not Millennia X.
And possibly
Zeed
Moon.
Millennia, right?
Zeed, Yeah, Zed. But like in our game, a lot of level 7s are a mix of black and yellow for some reason. So like you have that. If you really want to get crazy, you could go to Chaosmon, you know, or Chaosmon Volder Arm if you really want to.
Just wait till BT16.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can do a lot of like, you know, different top ends if you really wanted to and get real spicy with it.
Bro, just wait till that
really
deck
cool.
can play Chaosmon and Volder Arm with like absolute ease.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's not Volder Arm, Ultimate Chaosmon.
Oh, Ultimate Chaos. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, that's why I think that deck still be a relevant deck even without the Ukomon. So I think Ukomon hitting it is irrelevant. What outside of like, so if you think about like the meta, right? Like your main decks, right? How many decks are really running Uko? You got 2 main decks, Numon and Red Hybrid. Any other deck that's running it, Magnamon is not a tier 1 deck per se just yet, right? It's a solid deck. Needed Uko. Without Uko, that deck was irrelevant. Like realistically, right? Outside of the Magnemon STU, I guess that deck was pretty irrelevant. Gobblebon that just got top, it was irrelevant without Uko. That's a rogue ass deck still, no matter what you look at it, right? What else? What other decks are really running like that?
So I'm looking at the DGU tier list. So according to our meta defining list, out of 5 decks that may or may not be right in their positions, only 2 of those decks run Ukomon. Out of the contenders, which is a total of 10 decks,
probably 2 max.
1.
There was
not even 1. No, none of them run Ukomon.
Probably helped it out. Yep.
Yeah, you see that occasionally. Yeah.
So let's look. I guess that's a good thing. Let's take a look at like the rogue and pilot picks.
If you go into the rogue decks,
Gamamon,
probably everything's playing it.
I throw that shit really think about it. Jank decks.
Gamamon and Jelly don't play it.
Argubond, Ukomon time. Like,
yeah.
But Dark Knightmon, Uko for sure.
Myotismon definitely
is probably going to run it. That needs to fill its trash and draw.
I don't know what else.
Right.
Yeah.
Except Beelzemon.
I guess if you want to look at the purple Davos that sometimes runs it. But like.
Right. Yeah, okay. That would be 1. All right, no, yeah, you have a fair point. You do have a fair point.
It's not like it's being thrown into everything. Now, BT16 Uko, that's a different story because of what that card does. That card is a 1-cost searcher, basically, when you think about it.
Yeah.
So, like, that makes sense. So, like, I don't think... So, like, all right, cool, we hit it. All right, it slows down Numon. Numon's still a tier 1 deck. BT16 comes around. Oh, bet. We're going to have, Valkyremon. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have Rapid X to go into. There's so many other different things you go into. All right, we don't have Ugo in our low end. Fine, we'll play the Agumon package heavier. We'll play more Floodgates. Everybody loves themselves some Floodgates, right? So, like, it's to the point where it's just like, are we really thinking, is Ugo really that bad of a card? I don't really think so. It's just because Numon's so prevalent and it's like, oh my god, Numon, I can't deal with Numon because Uko.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't deal with Numon because it's Numon, not just Uko. Uko just speeds things up. But even I played so many games where I saw 0 Ukos, and I probably took them out in 2 turns still. Like, just hard play Garymon, the Numon X, going to Mazimon, Mazimon X, playing other Numons or something, you know what I'm saying? Swinging 2 checks, swing with a rush Numon, get a Platinum Numon out, let's go over Rumo so I can stall you out, and then I'm gonna get game next turn, which is rookies chilling in the back, right? I didn't even see a Uko, which is very possible. There's so many games. If you ask, I'm sure you asked Dan Vang, someone who won with Numon, I bet he had many games where he was like, Uko is irrelevant to me. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just one of those things. It's prevalent to us right now. We keep seeing it, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Like Cool Boy in the back,
everyone
in the past, right? It's the same concept. Same concept.
Yeah. All right. You've changed my mind. You've changed my mind back to what it was originally, previously. Because originally I was like, yeah, no, promo Uko's fine. Then I played against Numon. I'm like, yeah, no, fuck that card. Now you changed my mind. Because I mean, looking at the topping list here, not many of them playing Ukomon.
I wouldn't want Ukomon hit for Magnamon, right? Like those Magnamon, Magnamon plays, that hurts more for them than it does hurt Numon. So like, why we're gonna hit a card that's like helps more road decks than it does the top tier decks. Leviathan
Right.
never played it. That's a top tier deck. Mirage don't even need it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What else? Shine's not gonna play. I mean, Shine's not like a tier 1 deck currently, but it's a top tier type of style deck. You know what I'm saying? Like Greymon decks aren't playing it. What else is a top tier deck? Like
I mean, nothing really is
Noga,
playing it. There's only
right?
2
Like-
decks that are in the top that are playing it. Which
Exactly.
is really just 1. And then
Red Hybrid and-
2. And then
yeah,
Magnamon.
Purple
and
Divas, Magnamon, like
Purple Divas. That's like it. There's really nothing else here. Not even like Gallantmon that won a EU regionals. That was just Gallantmon doing Gallantmon things. BT16
And then-
Ukomon is definitely a different story.
Speaking of, no, hold on, give me a quick second, just because of what I've seen. BT16 Uko, I think is a card that like you've seen decks have 2 of it. There's some decks don't even run 4 of it. It's legitimately a card where it's like, all right, I could throw a couple in because I don't have any other rookies to throw in, and it's a good searcher. Like, what's so wrong with a generic ass searcher for anybody to have? You can't digivolve over it, so it's just chilling there. Like, how bad is that? Like, I
don't
get
know.
the search. I
That's-
get to start a main search and stuff, and use a free body, blah blah. I understand 100%.
I agree,
of it.
because we're
Like,
seeing like
You need to relax on this band.
what
talk
happens
sometimes.
then? Ukomon starts running rampant. Here comes Digimon Emperor. You know what I mean? Like there's push and pull. There are cards that can handle it.
Yeah, 100%.
My only thing with BT16 Ukomon
Gotta
is the
see how
fact
it
that like
goes.
we haven't played the card yet. So
100%.
yeah, I made the comment that like, yeah, we just need to wait for BT16 to hit. Like, yeah, we all expect Magna X to be a monstrosity, and it'll most likely come over here and be a monstrosity. Well, like, let's play it and let's like see how it is in the meta. Then we can start talking about like, yeah, this card should get hit or that card should get hit. Because on paper, like, if Promo Ukomon does what Promo Ukomon does, and you're so like just disgusted by its memory gaining, the other Ukomon is arguably like it's just as bad.
I think
just
that's
in a different
worse.
way.
If you want to say it, which one's a
Yeah.
bad card, which one's a more, way strong card. That's a way
card.
That's,
sure.
Yeah, problematic. I think BT16 is probably worse if
Right.
you really think about it.
That's what I'm saying, because just 2 of those means that, yeah, your opponent's probably going to see their shit real quick. Like, if you don't deal with 1, it's different from being able to, all right, well, cool, I'll go from like 1 to 4 memory. No. Now, I'm just going to get to search and find any piece that I'm missing. But
Yeah.
there is the caveat, at least it digivolves for 1. The big question
It slows
is
you down
going
if you
to
think about
be-
it too, right? Because sometimes,
It does.
sometimes you want that, Evo for free,
Zero
Evo
cost
to a
to
champion
digivolve.
that turn,
Yeah.
and now it's a 1 cost Evo. Now that might put you behind a tad bit.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, let's wait. Let's see how BT16 plays out, because Imperial guaranteed, like, they might run Ukomon because it's searchable, but their entire deck works off of VMons. So it's
100%.
entirely plausible
And Wormmon.
that they don't run Ukomon. Yeah, and Wormmon, because they have a couple good Wormmons now too. So it's possible they don't play Ukomon. What decks would end up playing the BT16 Ukomon? Will it be just, 2 copies like Dan said? There's so many factors that goes into it. Let's see how these stuff do. Let's see if Magna X is going to be an absolute menace, like to the point where it's like, well, it's the only thing that's running the format. It's obviously not APOC level. That was shown in Japan, and it came over here, and it pretty much lived up to the hype. So that's different. It's not to that level. Let's see how it works out before we. The only
we
thing
need
I would say.
we need to relax on like these like people talking about we need to ban cards before the things come out. Like we need to relax on that because there's no reason for
Put
that.
the
We
pitchforks
don't necessarily know
down.
what's going to happen here. We need to chill out on that. Like
Sure.
exactly.
well,
like
no, raise the pitchforks,
relax.
but raise it for the right cards.
right.
Heaven's Judgment.
Emissary.
Emissary for Dan. I'm not going to argue with it because
Those type of cards-
stupid.
Those type of cards is what breaks the game, right? To me, in my opinion, you can go from a
6.
4 to a 7. Technically a 7, I think, right? For 1 cost.
No, you can only go to a 6.
Okay, so 6. my
But
fault.
you can go
But
into a
cards
6
like
for
that are-
1.
Yeah, you go to 6 for 1 that normally costs 3 to 4 unless you have a boost or whatever, blah blah.
Or Magna X's cases, 5, but for 1.
Right. So like that type of card is what breaks the game. HPD, stuff like that. MDF, stuff like that is what, makes things, broken, in my opinion.
Now,
Heaven's Judgment with Magna X is wild.
That's why I want Heaven's Judgment banned. I'm trying to be a very, thoughtful and logical player. I just think doing neg 20 fucking 4, which in standard terms means neg 12 for a cost of 7 is absolutely dumb. Neg 18 is cool because neg 18 means there was a 2-color Digimon in play and you can delete a Mega and some other rookie. But if there's an Ultimate in play that's a 7 cost, you're not going to be able to delete that most likely. And that's fine. That's the trade-off. I like that. But you want to talk about, all right, cool. I just have 3 colors naturally and I can get up to 5 colors with ease. Like Dave is doing that different because their entire deck, like that's what their entire deck is. But Magna X being able to do that with just Magna X in play, well, you're problematic and I can't deal with you. So I'll just neg you. I'll just neg you into oblivion. And there's like no protection for DP negging. Heaven's Judgment, raise the pitchforks for it. Raise those to the fucking heavens because that card should not be restricted. It should be banned. It's probably one of the only cards that I'll probably ever advocate for a ban for, just because we want to talk about cards that break game design, cards that like just get stupider as time goes on. HPD is already like that card. Heaven's Judgment is another one in my opinion. We don't need that type of removal in the game. The Wyverns for 8. Why would you play? It's like, unless you're playing a mono yellow deck,
target 15k.
You would never play Wyverns because why neg 15 when I could neg 24 across I could neg 6 across multiple targets 4 times. Heaven's Judgment needs to go. Get out of here. Get out of here. But that's besides the point. That's thing for another day. I don't think, do we even get to it? We haven't even gotten to it. So like, let's just talk about it real quick. I said, what are some of the best or worst experiences you've had with a judge or as an acting judge? Gus said, just anything to do with Leviathan/X. That shit melts my entire brain, especially in a mirror. So I have a tip for you guys. I have a quick tip. I learned this on Friday while judging the finals, the championship showdown for the season 2 of the Tamers Battle League that you guys can check out. VOD is up on Twitch. It'll be going up on YouTube soon. And we'll be starting season 3 in just 3 weeks time, May 10th. So be on the lookout for that. But I learned a lot. One thing I learned was about effect procking. I said it that way because I would say as Digimon players, we have generally learned that turn player has priority on all effects. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
So that is wrong. And it's only wrong because it's put us into this way of thinking about effects that makes it wrong. The way Digimon effects work is LIFO. Last in, first out. Last effect triggered, first effect activated. That means if you have, say, you do something, and then when you do something, your opponent's Digimon does something. Well, their effect triggered last. Their effect is the first to resolve. You trigger your effect first, obviously, but upon your resolution of effect, if your effect would proc some other effect. Perfect point. Gino with his match against Coach, playing high roll Alter S against Gino's Mirage. Coach does the whole when Digivolving chain to get up into Alter S, but he has an egg that says, when one of your other Digimon Digivolves, draw a card. Mirage says, when your opponent adds cards to hand by an effect, gain X amounts of memory, right? So how does this play out? In general, you would think, well, it's turn player resolves all effects. So you would do, your opponent would resolve, Digivolve. Oh, okay, I'll draw here. I'll finish Digivolving. Mirage has triggered, but we're waiting for effects to finish resolving for Alter S. And then Mirage does its effect if it's still on the field. That is wrong. Let's say one Digimon Digivolves and then it get the when Digivolving to Digivolve another Digimon. So you do that. But in the middle of that chain, you do the Sunomon, draw a card. Well, Mirage now triggers because you added a card to hand by effect. It is the newest trigger. It is the first one to resolve. So It just reinforces what I've been preaching for maybe the last like 2 months. We need an effect chain because I think an effect chain just makes these things simpler. It's a lot simpler to think about and explain if you just say, well, there's an effect chain, because what the effect chain is cool. Well, now here's a bunch of effects that triggered. Here's the order in which we're going to resolve them. We've been explaining things as turn player priority, resolve all your effects first. But what it really is, it's an effect chain. It's an effect chain without Bandai saying it's an effect chain. The last effect that triggers is 100%. The first effect to resolve. That is why Red Hybrid players, your Takuya, when you check a card from security, gain 2 memory, that is why your effect triggers last to a security effect. That is why security effects trigger first, because you swing into security, you hit an option card. If you die, you don't get that memory because the security effect was the last effect triggered. It is the first effect to resolve.
Yes.
And then you die and you don't get your memory.
Do you get the memory?
It's when it checks a security, because so here's wording, right? When this Digimon checks a security, so you check security. Oh, it's a Digimon. No security effects, gain 2 memory before battle happens. Oh, it's an option card. Security effect triggers first. Oh, I'm deleted. I don't gain memory. Oh, it's a delay option. All right, cool. It sets, I gain 2 memory. After it sets, I gain 2 memory. So that's why. LIFO, remember that, guys. That's a perfect way to think about Digimon effects. Rant over. Walker says, had a judge at a 1K tourney tell us the ban list for Greymon X wasn't in effect for the tourney, even though we were past the days. This was probably a Saturday to a Friday ban list or something of the sort. Then he ruled that Metal Grey X could Evo over Metal Grey X for free. That sounds like Mans was not a judge. But a 1K
you said
tourney.
Metal Greymon X over Metal Greymon X?
Yeah. But, the question is, right? Is this an actual judge? Is this somebody who was a Bandai certified judge? Was this before the making of the Bandai organized play program? Was this just some random Joe Schmo who just runs tournaments for the TO and is not an actual judge? Like, there are so many questions involved in that. Because, I dispute that shit all day. I say, fuck out of here. I know my shit. I'll pull it up if you want me to. But,
Yeah, no, that's pretty crazy.
Depends on the circumstances. And then shout out to Andrew McDaniel, who is one of the hosts of the Security Checkpoint, not Checkpoint. Sorry, I wasn't even going to say it. The Security Check podcast. Don't judge my Tyrannocope. I never judge a Tyrannocope. As a matter of fact, Dan knows very well about my Tyrannocope, and I try it out every so often, only to get punched in the gut. Then I shove it right back into the deck box and I put it away in the drawer, where I can never be hurt again. Let's get on to the main topic. The main topic for tonight is deck building. So, Gino, I think this is like perfect for you. I know I don't expect like all like the biggest tips, but
you like my first
Digimon
like,
was your first card game ever?
Yeah.
All right, so then that's like perfect. So, for you getting into playing Digimon competitively, how did you learn and grow? Like, what did you do to grow as a player, especially when it comes to deck building? Because deck building is probably one of the hardest parts about playing the card game. It's very easy to build a bad deck because you could fall into the trap of, well, like this card is good, or these ratios are this, or something. Just there's so many factors that goes into deck building. You just don't realize. And so I'm curious, how did you go about
really
that?
Funny.
How did you get
when
better
I first started making my own decks, not just this is the starter deck. I just do, okay, here's the starter deck. Oh, I found a better level 4. We just take that level 4 out, you put that one in. You buy 2 starter decks and you mash them together, right? That's a no-brainer. But when I started actually making my own decks, I remember I had a little stupid graphic because I could never remember the ratios. I'm like, okay, 12, 10, 8, 6. Like, I don't know why, but it just was not clicking for me. So I had to check the graphic every time I wanted to make a new deck. Obviously now it's second nature. But so you got to think about your ratios. You got to think about how much your deck searches and think about what your deck is going to bottom deck. So like, I think a really good example of a card that seems good but is actually bad is I don't know what set it's from, but that green Tyrannomon that evos for 2, it digs you 3. It sounds like it's good, but it only grabs a level 5. So boom, you just bottom decked all the tamer you needed, or your next rookie for your next raising phase or whatever. So I think when it comes to deck building, you want to go with consistency. I need to, whenever I build a deck, I need to have one of my level 3s has got to be a searcher. It's got to be. If it's not, then I'm playing a weird deck or a deck that doesn't run as many rookies, or you know what I mean. I need Numamon. You don't need the searcher because you're going to play the Garamon. He's basically your searcher. Yeah. Right. But basically, in a normal deck, you need one searcher. You need some consistency pieces. So you're probably going to have a couple trainings, couple boosts, and then whatever your deck wants to do. I'll allocate your slots for. Start with the regular ratio. Start with 12-10, 8-6, and then add or subtract where you like. What kind of deck are you playing? You're playing something a little low to the ground? Throw a 13th or 14th rookie in there. Drop the level 6s out. If you're playing something like Kentaurus or something that warps, you probably don't need as many like level 5s. You can drop a couple of them because your 3 is going to warp into your 6. So, think about your deck and what it does. I think the most basic thing I can say when you're building a deck, pick your level 6 and build backwards. What's going to work with this level 6? That's my boss monster. That's my win con. Identify what your win con is, and then take a look at every card and say, does this card contribute to my win condition?
I think you nailed it on the head with that. What is my win con, and how do I accelerate my win con? How do I get cards in my deck that gets my win con out ASAP? Dan, as a former competitive player of Yu-Gi-Oh! And whatever other card games you've played, what have you learned from those card games that you've brought over to Digimon to help you be a good competitive player?
You gotta be psycho competitive to be good.
He's like, oh. No, you gotta be psycho competitive?
No, I'm kidding.
Psycho?
I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! is a different breed. All jokes aside.
I mean, you're not wrong, but...
let's see. Knowing what your win con is for sure. Understanding how to get there as well. Not just because you can have your win con, right? But like, if you don't know how to get there correctly, is that your win con? Like, is that like how you win anyways? Like, if you're building, I don't know, let's say Red Turbo Omnimon back in the day, right? Why you running, 3-cost champions? You know what I'm saying? 3-cost Evo champions, I should say. Stuff like that. You have to, you might need to know what your win cons, but you need to know how to get there, how to set up to get there, so you can be, prepared and do it, right? Understanding consistency. Obviously, there's a little different in other card games because you get better consistencies, like actual searching pieces. So like that, I will, like Yu-Gi-Oh, right? You want to maximize your amount of searching possible. You want everything to be, grab the pieces that you need. Like your extenders. You need cards that extend your plays. Perfect example for Digimon, I think, is cards like Cool Boy is an extender, in my opinion. Being able to, go besides the on-play effect, the rest of the effect is an extender, right? So, you got your X but you got your level 4 Greymon. You go into Greymon X. Cool Boy, what does that do? It gains you a memory, gives you a draw. That extending your play, being able to do more with the means of your resources, right? Having those type of cards is important in certain decks. Some decks you don't need them, right? Back in the day, Grandis, right? Just gain to that stack, GG, right? That was basically what that was. Having cards that, unfortunately, it's weird again because Digimon doesn't have. You would think cards like, what's it called? Pyrosphere, Pyroball, is a great card when you think about it, but it's really not that good in most decks. Like, most red decks, cool. This is a pot of greed. But the way the Digimon card game works, it has a cost. So, like, wasting that 2 costs early, like, is it matter? Are you going to ever use it later on? Like, there's a difference like that, right? So, like what Gino said, make sure you have those cards as like memory boost to be able to search whenever you need it. Training boost nowadays to me is probably most decks more important? Again, depending on the deck, it really depends because there's certain decks like Numon doesn't play any trainings, right?
Doesn't need it. Yeah.
Right. They don't even play memory boost. That deck is all draw power.
Yeah. It's all draw power and everything, and the deck just facilitates memory gain as well. So it's like it's different than your usual deck per se. Yeah, those are probably the main things, right? Make sure your main cards are your highest ratio cards. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever you can maximize on that, like your searchers, right? Your Greymon, Agumon searcher, you gotta have 4 of it, right? Because that's your main searcher. Yeah, for sure, right? War Greymon, if that's your main win con, you're probably gonna have that at 4, right? You want to see it more than
Greymon, the deck
cards.
that runs 8 searchers and 8+ or 4+ boosts of varying sorts.
It's a curse.
Still bricks.
Yeah, it never fails, right? It never fails. Yeah. And understanding resource management as well, especially in this game. You need to understand resource management. So, make sure your plays are good plays, right? Like understand when you can overextend versus underextend as well. Stuff like that.
Yeah. If you guys, follow us on YouTube, you'll find a series that I started that was literally just like a spur of the moment thing that I thought about after I topped the Ultimate Cup with Magnamon, because I really did make that deck. Like there was no lie when I said, all right, cool, 2 a.m. What deck am I playing for this tournament in 9 hours? I had no clue. And it was between the deck that I had built and the deck that I didn't have built. And I went with the deck that I didn't have built. I was like, all right, cool. How the hell am I building this? Like, I know the general idea, but how am I going to build this? So that's where that series started. We're calling it the Digi Breakdown. The first part of it was literally how I built this deck. What was my thought process? What went into what cards I should use, why I tried to use certain cards, why I went with certain ratios, yada, yada, yada. Part 2 was the actual deck profile. And then most importantly, I think personally, part 3 was, all right, cool. We played the deck. Now, where do we go from here? And I think there's just not a lot of good content out there for that line of thinking anyways. Everybody does a deck profile. Everybody puts out, well, this is why I built the deck. This is how I built the deck. These are the combos. And this is what the deck does. But when the deck doesn't do what it does, when the deck does things that you didn't expect, like how do you use that as retrospective for when you're making changes? It's not like, well, okay, cool, I built the deck and made the deck profile. Now this is how the deck stays for the rest of the format. Like that's not how it goes, not in the slightest bit. So the biggest thing for me, when you're building a deck, you want to know, Gino nailed it on the head. What is your win con? How do I accelerate that win con? Dan also nailed it on the head. What are the cards? Like, how do all of these cards fit the overall picture? Is this a card that extends my play? Is this a card that increases my consistency? Is this what purpose does this card serve in my deck outside of just the win con? Is there a reason that I would play this card? Tech choices are a big thing. One-ofs are, that's where the term, I would say that's where the term like one-ofs come from. You don't play a one-of because it's like, well, I like to be able to do this cute little combo. No, that's in there for some matchup that, you're like, well, it could really be useful for this. Digimon Emperor comes straight to mind. Magnamon, what stupid little shtick can they play? Hammer Spark. Why would you need a Hammer Spark? In case I need to, gain some memory. Not that you should play Hammer Spark. I'm not telling you to play Hammer Spark. Don't play Hammer Spark. But don't play Hammer Spark. But I need to gain a memory to accept my play. That used to be that card used to be a 4 of in blue decks. That card used to be a 4 of because it was, how do I accelerate my win con? I'll play Hammer Spark for when I need that one extra memory so that I could do some stupid shit.
Especially back
that's
then,
what that card was.
ETA was about like, all right, they put me at 2. How can I play this thing off of 3 and keep turning DNA and pop off, right? So like the best thing to do was just play Hammer Spark. If you think about it, right? Because you're gonna have the XV chill in the back. Raise you go to 2, play Hammers for play Stigmon for 3, swing with XVmon, get jamming, DNA.
Now you popping off.
Pyojimon, swing, unspent, swing, go into Pyojimon, and then you split sources, and then you're like, all right, deal with this board. Can you do it? No, I win next turn. That's usually how it went if you played in that time frame.
How do you know that combo so well, Dan?
I've won and lost to it so many times. It's not even funny. It's one of those things where I've legit probably played the deck once in my lifetime. That version of the deck at that time frame. Once, just because like to prove a point. And I proved my point during that one time when I was playing against someone. And I don't know if you remember, we were like coaching Marvin into it. I was just like, I don't know if someone was giving him the deck to play or something. I was like, Marvin, here is the play. He's like, you play this deck? I was like, no, here is the play. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. Do this. And he's like, you talking about, just do it. And then you do this, and just continue the chain of combo effects. But anyways, it was just, understanding what those cards, how can they make you win faster sometimes? Usually what the boils down to. Tech choices, even Yu-Gi-Oh! Was always a thing. Like, you always sometimes have like a one-of card that was like, all right, this one situation is gonna just kill it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? No, that's different.
That's the giant rock, right?
Yeah, but that's like a 3 of you're running that card because that's a hand trap.
Well, no, like I used to play that as a one-of in Sword Soul.
Oh, okay. Most times you play it, you're playing like 2 to 3. But I'm talking about like a niche combo that just randomly happens that you're able to do in the card. I used to do that all the time in like my decks and Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes. Have that one of 2 of card that was like when this situation pops up, this Axe of Despair, I'm gonna get 1,000 tag points. I'm gonna go for game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
despair.
Like I'm just random thought that just came up like old school Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's
right?
an oldie,
like I would just had like that one of card that was like, all right, that Mirror Force, that one of, because you only could do one of, clean house. You know what I'm saying? Magic Cylinder, bad. Say no more. You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of things that was random in that team. Nowadays, like more combo efficient things, or like you just mentioned Nibiru, right? Hand trap is more those type of cards now. One of sometimes, or Yu-Gi-Oh! But in Digimon, I think it's a little different because we use those for like matchups sometimes. Not for like our own combos per se, but it's more like matchup depending on things like our weaknesses, right? Maybe like decks that go wide that that it's a struggle for you. You're gonna run that one of decks because when you see that random D Brigade deck, that random ass Jessmon deck that you couldn't deal with, Dexmon's my answer. Bloom, Dex is my answer, right?
Yeah. But
and then like even like
those,
tech options, right? Sometimes
and a larger array of matchups than
100%.
Just like one point I made during my video was, are you going to only play jamming Vmon at 4, knowing that you do nothing when you drop it off of Promo Davis, just so that you can dump
100%.
2 cards out of hand against Mirage? No, because that's
right.
Not the way you play the game at all. You're not
thing, like
game planning against Mirage. Good.
It's same thing with like certain decks. Like, all right, I'm gonna run this one of Floodgate rookie, just so when I see that matchup, I can do it. But every other matchup is irrelevant as AF for you. Like, and sometimes that's why sometimes I don't even play Floodgates because like I know what I'm playing this for, and watch me not run into it. Oh, back in the day, blockers, bro. It was just like, all right, this is a waste of space. This could be a searcher or something that has an inherent that's useful or something.
Archetype with your deck, like the Pillowmon is a vaccine, or you're playing a purple deck and you can recur it. Like, what is that one of really gonna? Are you really gonna see that? And that one of's gonna make a huge difference. Like
that 1 or 2 of. That's my problem with Fenry. Like, people play Ghazi and stuff in Fenry, and I'm like, but why? It doesn't synergize with your deck. You can spend a turn and play it, but let's look at this. Here's another part of deck building. Fenry is a deck that is aggro AF. That deck is basically win or go home. It's literally, just tap it, go sideways all the time. And its biggest thing is phase 1, set up a Hellugar player 2. Phase 2, Fenry and fuck you up.
Yeah.
Where in the middle of that do you have time for a fucking Gazimon? I will never understand that. I just, it's like, all right, well, cool. I came up against this one matchup where I needed it. I would say the only matchup that I would ever play a Floodgate for is Psychmon for APOC because of how problematic that matchup is for the entire game and because of the prevalence of APOC in the entire game. But even then, APOC so easily outs your Psychmon because they generally ran 3 to 4 Deathclaw. You spent 3 memory to play a Psychmon to hopefully make sure your opponent can't out it, that they just outed for 1 memory after they just did a busted ass Gerudo X combo that gained them 3 memory and then popped your shit for 1. Why the fuck did you play that Psychmon? What did it help you with? Did it help you accelerate your win con? No, the hell it did not. Why didn't you just focus on your win con? Like, that's the thing. Where do these cards fit in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, like especially Floodgate rookies, right? I feel like they're very, very meta dependent because like if you're running, for example, Psychmon and a reduced cost like a cross type of deck or a deck spot is not around in that meta while you're running it. You know what I'm saying? For that off chance that you see that one rogue matchup,
that one cross heart matchup, that one blue flare
that's
matchup,
not relevant anymore. Like that's a tough one to see. See,
so
now,
you probably
like,
still have a fair chance against.
Exactly, without it. Like it's understandable when like BT13 was around and Royal Knights was a thing, right? Royal Knights was arguably
everyone was playing it at least
1.5 deck, somewhere around that range, right? Where it's like, all right, my only out to that is playing that Psychmon sometimes, even though they have their own outs because they needed to have their own outs of like the Marcus or the Porcupine, stuff like that, so they can be able to do their plays. But like, again, that's very meta dependent thing. Or like, I don't know, a deck that gains a crack ton of my memory.
Mirage!
You're playing Gazimon, right? Mirage, yeah. But the problem with Mirage, it can just bounce.
Mirage bounces your Floodgate and then it gains its memory.
Is it really going to do anything at that point? Exactly my point. Nothing.
Thank you. That and Beelzemon. Mirage and Beelzemon are 2 biggest offenders of why you do not play a Floodgate in every deck you play. You can play a Floodgate in. Beelzemon pops Floodgates when it does what the deck does. Mirage bounces Floodgates when it does what the deck does. Don't play those cards for those matchups. If you're thinking about how do I beat Mirage, think about it outside of the scope of what can I do to slow them down. No. Think about what you can do to help yourself. How do I think I'd beat Mirage? BT13 Magnamon. It's the only thing that provides some interactability against that deck. You bounce me, all right, no problem. I still get to play out a Vmon because everything else you lose armor purge. But BT13 is just when it would leave the battle area. You can't even do Magna X in that matchup. Don't even touch Magna X. You see Magna X, find the first way to trash that card because that card is serving you no purpose. They're just gonna bounce and be like, huh, you can redirect? Cool story, cool story, bro. Full Moon Meteor Impact. Mirage Burst Mode. Like, it's just like, it gets me so aggravated to think about because I see so many deck lists, even like in the meta snapshots. I saw like I can't remember what list it was, but I saw like a Psychmon list and I literally was sitting there like, why are you running this? We have nothing in our meta that you need a sight. You're not even a go wide deck. So you're not even protecting yourself from a deck spawn. Why are you playing this?
I feel like the only time you should be doing that is if one, your rookie lineups are like irrelevant and you have nothing else to play but to throw in this Floodgate because that's the only way it benefits you as a rookie. Like a la like Mastermon back in the day, right? Yes. A lot of rookies was just like, all right, I'm just gonna play Gazi and Psychmon and then what, 2-3 Salamon or something like that. It makes sense because like, all right, what else am I gonna run? I'm gonna just run these and call it a day. But when you're forcing like stuff that's in archetype for you to like lose and you lose out on that synergy because they don't synergize, it kind of sucks. Like it makes sense for Numon to run them, right? They have no rookies, 0 rookie. So if you want to run Chumon, Chikorumon,
you're playing them all for free anyway. So you drop 2 of
them, whatever you want, right? Any Floodgate
that really cripples it. Like you might just win you the game. If you have 2 Gazis and they can't get rid of both of them, then get rid of one, but they can't get rid of the other.
Yeah.
You're playing it for free off Monzi X anyway.
Right, exactly. So like that's the only way you're going to do that consistently. Like decks like that don't have real rookie lineups right now. you could run those floodgates without feeling, bad about it, I think.
Yeah. It's the big thing, and I think it's a very easy trap to fall into. And you just need to that's one of the biggest things. When you're considering deck building, does that card help you accelerate your win con? And if it does not, why else would you play it? Are you playing it to help you against a different matchup? What matchup is it helping you against? And how important is that card in that matchup? Is it to the point where, all right, cool, if I see this card against that matchup, I win? I.e., are you playing Alphamon? And are you digging to see Congo against Yellow Vaccine or Secon?
I think that was like my mistake in my Nats run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to go back and forth with the Pillowmon and the Qmon stuff
for the Anubis matchup, right?
Anubis, Fenrir. Anubis, but it was both of those that
you had more problems with Anubis than you did with Fenrir.
I mean, my Nats run my Nats run it showed Fenrir was my problem. You know what I'm saying? But realistically, right? That could have been an issue why maybe I didn't do as well, because I didn't have maybe a good rookie in that time, because hindsight doesn't matter, but Pillowmon didn't do anything for me most times. That's why I went with Pillowmon. Yeah. Crimson Blaze. Maybe I would rather had another Crimson Blaze in my deck instead of that, and that might have been way beneficial for me. I'll
never forget when this man told me he played the Pillowmon instead of playing the fucking Crimson Blaze. I was like,
I didn't want to give the man 6. That was the issue.
I just want to touch on that real quick. Pillowmon, and that's a perfect example, because I think Crimson Blaze, that and Congo. I mean, technically, all of the sovereign cards are floodgates in their own ways, but I would say I think Congo is the most
Crimson Blaze
prevalent.
Say that. Yeah. Crimson Blaze was the Firebird.
Yep.
I forget the name.
And Congo is
Congo is
Tiger.
Bahumon.
Now the green one sucks. I don't even know what his name is. It does, and it's bad.
Ibanwu.
Yeah, it sucks. It's just called Muget. It sucks. It's trash.
Okay, yeah.
Great card.
And then the blue one is Surai, which is, also a floodgate in its own mind. But so what those cards do compared to what their rookie, Congo and Surai don't really have a rookie equivalent. Neither does the green one. But red does. Crimson Blaze does. Your opponent can't play Digimon by effects. There's also a floodgate, many floodgates that say your opponent can't play. Nobody can play Digimon by effects. The difference is, one is a card that you play and it lives on the field for as long as it lives on the field. That effect is applied. The other one just says, yeah, you can't fucking do this, chief.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no, it's an effect. You can't fucking do this, chief. No. Whatever you're thinking of, just stop. You were going to come out raising and pop off. Think again, King.
For sure.
Play another wisdom training. Try again next turn.
Just pass. just pass. I can't tell you how many times I got Crimson plays playing Anubis or Vaccine with Mitamamon or Fenrir, and I'm just like,
you got it, Chief. I'll wait a turn. Hopefully I'm alive.
Hopefully I'm still alive in a turn, because my deck doesn't do any. I can't even say, let me try to get rid of that floodgate. I can't.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
Me and Gino were playing after on Sunday. He hit me with Crimson Blaze versus I was playing Fish Swarm. And I'm just like, I just don't do nothing.
I'll just pass.
I think the one time he killed nothing, but it was just because he stopped my Plesio play from happening. I was just
exactly. It's 6 cost, stop your play.
Yeah.
Exactly. How do these, again, it boils back to, how does this card either help me win my matchup, or what matchups does it help me win against?
Yeah.
Great card.
Crimson Blaze. This is there's just, when you guys are building, just think twice. Go through your deck list a couple times and think about it. Does it help? Then when you're thinking about it, ask yourself again, does it help? Because sometimes we get stuck in this line. We're like, yeah,
for sure.
That's me.
I think that's where 100% was. I think that's where play groups come in, right? You can ask your friends like, "Hey, what do you think about this choice? What do you think about this tech choice? What do you think about, for example, Varney with Magnamon and Magna Andromon.
Just ask, Varney. Just ask.
Magnamon, I wish she was able to ask me. It was 3. I know it was 3 a.m.
Y'all were sleeping. I was gonna say it's 3 a.m. I had nobody to ask except the one guy who shares the same mentality with me.
Yeah.
Which is it's both good but also a recipe for disaster because he's like, yeah, that's gonna work, and I'm like, yeah.
May have the Mario woohoo on that one. That's something that's important too. He should have just blew up my phone. I would have answered eventually. You know what I'm saying? I would have thought it would be an emergency until he would have said, hey, yo, what do you think about Magnamon? I was like, you waking me up for this fucking shit? Why are you trying to play this trash ass card? Clarify, Magna Angel is not a garbage card. It was a garbage card for Magnamon, And so, I would have immediately been like, don't pull Magna Angemon in that deck. Don't do it. Click. You know what I'm saying? That was us. Back on track. Have friend groups. Talk to people who are maybe also competitive as well. Who, especially if you're trying to play in a regional Ulti Cup. Even locals, man. Depending on what your locals looks like, if they're a more competitive group versus non-competitive, even if it's a more casual, you should ask those other people, hey, what do you think about this tech choice I'm thinking of, whether they know the game well enough or not to give you an answer. That's up to your discretion at that point. But
as a player who needs to make that
for me, like
decision.
when I do deck building, if I have a specific choice, like what ace card I should play in a deck or something. If I was like, I'm playing purple, should I play Melga Ace? Why are you playing that card for? But I can steal turn, blah, blah, blah. But why are you playing that card for? You know what I'm saying? I had that conversation with Varney a couple times, but what was that? What was I was trying to play Melga Ace? It was like when Melga.
Yo, I tried to put that shit in Hunters.
Melga and War Greymon first came out of the Aces. It was like,
that's a long time ago.
I remember. Bravemon.
So did Mike.
It was Bravemon I tried to do.
We overestimated the shit out of that.
It was Bravemon I tried to throw it in. Yeah. You don't remember?
No.
And Belphemon had tried one time. So I was like, all right, if I get stuck with an ass, I can still steal a turn and do things,
It's a travesty, though, because it's a card that reads really good on paper as an ace card. 100%. That would be splashable in a purple deck, but in reality, you're like, yeah, I fucking hate this card.
Yeah, because if you, especially purple, right? A lot of those decks is like, damn, those purple megas that are cracked sometimes is like, all right, am I going to run this in Anubis? Why? You know what I'm saying? I'm about to do shenanigans. I know. I'm about to pull some shenanigans in, Anubis, right? But Anubis plus Merva plus, whatever other side megas you're running, like, just because the megas are so good. Like, it was really a good card for Melga, really only. Because you could combo with the mat, and, like, you're not playing mat in every other deck. It's just same through the War Great Ace. Like, you had to have a whole full setup with the Star Deck stuff, and
War Great Ace sucked as its own. I mean, 100%. It sucks even in its own deck.
100%. But just comparison, sure. They gotta give us a new one. Hopefully a Black Hole Greymon Ace that lets us pop a Tamer.
Oh, you asking for a lot out here. That goes wild.
Crazy.
That shit better.
Imperial comes Ace and play one.
Only.
Hey, yo,
it better Digivolve on black only. Can you imagine Red getting access to that? Super easy.
Imperial out here, playing Tamers for free off of your opponent's swinging. Why can't Black or Greymon pop a Tamer when your opponent decides to swing?
Like I said, on black only. On black only, or some, I don't know. That's tough. Another thing, ratios. I think it was a lot easier, during like the first, I would say 8 sets. Digimon. Yeah. Pre-BT9, pre-Power Creep meta. It was a lot easier because you were just like, yeah, here's your ratios, like Gino said. 12, 10, 8, 7, 2, maybe? If you want to play to, what's it called? Level 7s. And then generally at that point in time, you used to play like 3 Orish tamers, and then you had like a bunch of flex spots. Maybe you play some more rookies. Maybe you play a couple more level 7s. Maybe you play some more option cards. You play some more tamers. Now it's a little bit more difficult because we still have the same 50 card limit, and there's a lot more good cards. Now you can keep those same ratios, but do you want to run removal, or do you rather run some consistency cards? How many trainings? How many memory boosts?
Yeah.
How many tamers are you running? Tamers are a lot better now than they used to be. Vaccine, I played 6 in my like BT14 build, and when I built Kentaurus, that bitch went up to like 10, almost 10 tamers. I think the topping list had like 10 tamers. Fenry, that's 8 tamers. There are 8 slots in that deck dedicated to tamers because you got 4 analog youth, 4 AG. Then you also want like 4 wisdom training. Maybe you want some memory boost. Then that leaves space for your Digimon. Where are you making concessions so that you can fit your level 4s that you want? Because there's a lot of good level 4s. Sometimes you can only fit 12, but you might have to cut some cards so that you can run 14 or 15. Like, deck building has gotten a lot more diverse. So when you guys think about ratios, you don't necessarily have to think in the box of 12, 10, 8, 7, 2 anymore. It's really just play, just honest to God, build the deck, play it, see how you like it. Ratios only matter. Gina, were you the one who told me some shit about ratios? I can't remember what it was, but I said like, oh, I run like 18 rookies and I can't fucking see one. But I can run 12 rookies. And what was your comment that you said to me? I don't remember what it was.
I have to be in context.
It was something he said, and it was something he said, but I was just like, here's 18 rookies, and I actually have to mulligan because I didn't open with a rookie. Here's 12 rookies, and cool, I opened into a rookie. No problem. I won't even mulligan.
Yeah, I got 5 of them in my hand. I got nothing else I could do.
Right, exactly. Like that's it's just RNG. You're only going to see 40 cards in your deck. 5 cards are going to be in security and 5 cards are going to be in your hand. So out of those 12 rookies, there is the potential that if you're not seeing one in your opening hand, you have 45 cards to get through. Whatever the fraction is when you divide 12 over 45, that's your percentage of seeing it. Let's just ballpark it at maybe, I want to say 30% chance of seeing a rookie. And if you bump that count up to 18 over 45, let's ballpark that at maybe 38 to 45, not even 45, like 38 to 42%. Sure, that sounds like a lot. Like, yeah, you upped your percentages a lot of the chance of seeing a rookie, but how much did it actually up? Less than half of your deck is a rookie count. There's still there's more than a 50% chance of you not seeing a rookie. And it's not to say like, oh, well, easy. I'll just play 25 rookies. No, no, that's not what the fuck I just said. I did not say play 25 rookies. It's RNG. You cannot battle against RNG. Play the deck, make the concessions that you need. Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was gonna say, I know, like you said, like up to BT9, it was like pretty standard. But even back then, there was a decent amount of decks where it was like your ratios were kind of different, right? For example, OG Shine Greymon, you was running like 12 tamers in that deck. You were running like the OG TK, OG Kari, and then like whatever other stuff, right?
But those were all like flex spots. Because we didn't have like all of our boosts and stuff.
But you still needed it though. You had like OG Maximum prior to like DNA where like yellow.
Those ratios were fucked because Ying showed that you could only top with that list like one way.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna get to that one, but like pre DNA Max, you had like yellow purple Maximum where you were running a shit ton of like yellow rookies, so you could be able to play them and stuff. And like you had like weird ratios and stuff like that. Plus the lower Nightmon wasn't your kind of standard sometimes, ratios. And you got into the DNA Maximum, right? 8 rookies. And
sometimes 6.
And it was like 12 ultimates in that deck or something like that with a whole bunch of 1-ofs and stuff. It was crazy, 14. Right?
Yeah.
Right. You had OG EX1 Machine Digimon. That was pre-BT9, I believe. So like, again, Machine Digimon where you always need 14 to 16 ultimates and whatever else you're running, right? At that time, like a lot of people were running the blue package, right? So yours was running the 4 jamming Vmon for the draw and jamming. And so you could have blue Kaiser Nail. So you could Kaiser Nail your stuff out, right? Even like, what else? It was like the red Kresgarurumon deck. You was running a high number of ultimates in that deck too, because you want to get maximum value out of your Kresgarurumon. Seeing more ultimates to be able to play them free, you gain some effects like OG Skull Greymon to pop a blocker, and then you go straight into another level 6, right? You did weird little janky things that works, right? You got Rookie Rush. Rookie Rush was a 40 card rookie lineup or something like that, 30 cards, whatever. And then later on, you got more options
for
to
Gaia
cool.
Force and for Spiral Masquerade.
Sekon has been around since day one. You have Megazoo that was running around. So we always had these decks where it was just like you didn't have standard ratios. And with the game evolving the way it is, that's just blown out the water. What's a ratio? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, honestly,
you have your standards. There's certain decks that need to have a standard amount of ratios.
Guidelines that you can follow.
Guidelines, that's more better.
Don't be afraid to fine tune those guidelines.
Right, exactly.
At a point in time, I think the list that I topped with Examon, that might have been like an 11 rookie list. Rookies.
No, I think it was like 10 rookies, right?
I never dropped below 10.
Oh, okay.
It might have been 10, but it probably was 11, which for the time was like, you weren't playing 12, almost 14 rookies. I was like, no, because I didn't. Not only did I not need them, I only wanted these particular rookies because I needed Searcher and I needed the other one because I want either memory or I want my DP. Anything else served me no purpose, and I'd rather run the Kaiser Nail or whatever removal I might have ran at that time. Definitely my 3 Davises. Maybe I wanted a Takumi so I could get some extra draw. Like, there were so many other things that went into it. Ratios are there not as a strict thing. I need to follow this. If my deck doesn't follow this, I don't win. No. Your deck is your deck. When you build your deck, you go play that deck and you see how that deck works for you. If that deck spits in your face and tells you, nah, Chief, we're not working, visit the drawing board again.
There's
Think of something
only
new.
Certain decks I would I believe in that guideline. But like outside of that, I throw shit to the wall and see what happens. It's like,
Yes.
Dark Masters Omni Zoo. There's 0 rookies in that deck. 0 champions in that deck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was even testing it with the Ukos just to try it. I was like, yeah, this ain't it, Chief. Stuff like that. You just never know.
Conversation, but people are talking about how
different now.
Skill expression is kind of low right now in the game. It doesn't take a lot of skill to pilot some of these decks. I think that, and again, that's a different conversation, but I think a big part of skill expression is in your deck building. What do you put into your deck? That's as important, if 100%. Not more, than playing it.
I've said it to Varn before. I was like, yo, deck building is a skill. Like, that's part of your skill requirement in the game to be able to know how to build your deck within the 50 card confines.
Is dedicated to the part where Varney asks for 60 card decks. Go ahead, Varney.
Yeah, so 60 card decks. Let me tell y'all about 60 card decks. Yo, we need 60 card decks because it's just getting so much harder to build these decks, bro. Like Machine Dramon, bro, if I had a 60 card limit, I was 4 analog, man. 4 defense training. I'm up in my ultimate count. I'm running 4 Machine Dramon. I'm running 4 chaos and 2 chaos. All right, I'm going to balls to the wall. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Anyways.
No, you're right though, Dan. Like, that's why I prefaced this whole talk about deck building with, it is a skill. It is something you need. You need to be good at deck building. And there's also nothing wrong with net decking. I think net decking has gotten a big negative connotation from the likes of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you're not good with deck building, if you don't want to think about it, who the fuck cares? You just want to play the game, right? Just fucking go online and pull that deck off of eggmonevents.com and fucking play whatever deck you want. Who's going to crucify you?
That's your starting point.
Eggmonevents.com, bro. Eggmonevents.com.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be your start. Not should be, but that should be a starting point if you don't
want to, deck build. Some people, that's why they play with Game Shark back in the days, because I don't want to grind. I just want to enjoy and play and have fun. And that's fair. I mean, everybody plays the game in their own way. They enjoy it in their own way. But when you were talking about being a competitive player, yeah, I mean, you can net deck, but I guarantee you, even as a competitive player, if you try to net deck, you're still going to deck build. You're still going to be like, well, fuck, that deck didn't work for me. And that's because deck building is a personal expression. It is an expression
For sure.
of who we are as players. You know, Adrian, he made the comment that he was upset that not upset, like he was proud, but he was also like, damn, like Varney topped with Magnamon and I couldn't get it to work for myself. And it's not a slight against Adrian. You know, Adrian's a great player, but the way that I built the deck was the way that I wanted it to play for me and the way that I envisioned the deck would work to my playstyle compared to Adrian, who I don't even know what Adrian's playstyle is. Adrian doesn't play competitively. Adrian's like casual player by all means. He just loves playing the game. But because of my competitive mindset, because of me trying to be like more of a control player, you know, that's where dumbass decisions like Magnamon come from. But it's also where I pull, yeah, I'm definitely going to play Dexmon. Yeah, I'm definitely going to play Theory Removal in this deck. Like, there's just a lot of things that goes into deck building as a personal expression that I guarantee as a competitive player, you can't get away from it, because you're going to be like, damn it, I wish I had that one card in my deck. And then you're going to be like, wow, I don't even had it at 1. Maybe I should run it at 2. Like that. It's as simple as that. So that's another big thing to consider. The last thing that we'll touch on before we end pod here, because we are pretty long today, is just, you know, I think the big thing when it comes to deck building is it's not just deck building as like, how do I build the deck? What do I put into the deck? What are my ratios? Yada, yada, yada. But you have to know, like, I'm just going to elaborate on the point about WinCon. What does your deck do? And what do you do when your deck can't do what it's supposed to do? Greymon is the perfect example, because Greymon's a very versatile deck. Greymon decks are, you know, Blackboard Gray is obviously a very mid-range-esque deck. We can blow up Tamers, but we have Sec +1, we have Gaiamon. We can go and we can swing for 3 checks like it's nobody's business. War Greymon decks do that even more aggressively, but you know, you have the advent of BT12 tie, gives you blocker. You have protection. If you're in a matchup where like deletion is a big thing for them and they swarm the field, Raid War Gray is great because that's when an attack target is switched to unsuspend, right, Dan?
Yeah.
So it's a perfect blocker because, all right, cool, I'll block and then I'll get to unsuspend because it's an all turns effect.
It gains reboot,
I would assume it's an all turns effect at least. And it also has, well, it gains reboot for the turn.
Yeah.
But again, like,
but you want to swing over the things twice though.
But it's a deck that can flip in almost any way you need it to. It's just if the deck can see its pieces. But then you have a deck like Fenry, which on the scale of aggro to, would you say the scale is aggro to control, Dan? Is that the scale?
I was joking about, I was going to say aggro to aggro, but
no. To aggro to control.
Yeah, sure.
If this is aggro.
Yeah, it's somewhere all around that end over there.
Not to say that you can't play it a little bit more defensively, because AG does give blocker and you do have blockers in the deck. But what that really is for is after you pull off your aggro ass turn, if you can't finish game that turn, well, I got to have some sort of defense set up to hope I don't get killed the next turn. Because you did just knock out 5 security, and sometimes you give your opponent resources from that. That's the thing about security. In the case of Numamon, well, aggro, control, Numamon, but Numamon is like really perfect in the way that deck pivots. It pivots,
yeah, it really can.
super easily. Do I want to be aggro? I'm slapping you up. Do I need to play control? No problem. Monze X into Platinum Numa, into Ruin mode, Merciful mode, Zwart Defeat, any of my toolbox level 7s. Do I run Venusmon? Do I run Quantumon? Like, that deck is so flexible, both in deck building and play style. What does your deck do? How does your deck perform outside of its given play style? Sometimes some matchups are just an auto lose. Straight up.
Oh my god, I slapped so many people at Mirage with Davis. It's just a bad matchup for Davis.
Yeah, because they're just going to bounce back all your level 5s. What are you going to do? Play another one?
There's a lot of decks that probably Davos just suck into, right? You think about it, it's the same thing. Decks that go into Davos is just like really bad, like, right? Purple is rough to Davos, especially if they're not running removal, especially like Anubis time, right? It was like really hard to deal with it. But Viamon can't deal with it on its own. You need to have the 7 lightning or Is it 7
And
lightning,
even
or
then,
is
it's tough
Fighting
because they
Crush?
don't generally
'Cause
give you.
Fang Long is a level 7 that's
none of them-
Digimon Flex.
None of them deal with Fang Long
Oh, okay, my fault. Yeah.
unless you run rivals.
Correct.
So what you have to rely on is hoping that they don't tuck a blocker source under Fang Long, and that you can kill them in the turn after they put Fang Long on board.
Yeah.
Unless they happen to run purple base, and you can try to take advantage of that and pop off a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you know that
But even like
there's
Mirage
so much that
can deal with it, right? Because you got options to just remove it instantly. Full Moon Meteor. All right, cool. You got that?
Yeah.
Full Moon Meteor. Send it back to your hand.
Yeah.
I'll deal with you another time. Prior to that, I'm gonna OTK the F out of you, right? Like, I'm sure.
exactly.
Like, I don't know like much because I haven't seen the matchup too much, but I'm sure War Greymon probably can do well into it because he's just like, all right, that's no problem. I'll just
DP
swing
raid.
over. I'm a giant DP stack that's gonna just swing over your stuff, no problem. Even if you go into it, I have the
it'll be a
protection
problem
if
if
you
they
decide
have
to ace.
blocker and you don't have like. You have to like set up the perfect stack like that. That's what it is. But even like Ibanwu hurts. Like Ibanwu can't hurt because you can, when attacking, unsuspend, but then Ibanwu can suspend you back down.
Sure.
And there's so much that goes into it for sure with Greymon decks. You'll hear us talk about Greymon decks a lot because poor Greymon with their restricted one of. No, I'm just saying their restricted one of that makes that every matchup just
and then what else, honestly. Right? Like anything that can just like bounce, any decks that can bounce Devas, it's gonna be a hard time for Devas to deal with. And any decks that can't deal with, you know, Devas in that end, right? Where there's like, all right, we're gonna ace the crap out of you, and like, you know, can't do anything. Right? Shine struggles into Devas. It's very hard. You need to pop them Devas before they can turn to solvers. Because when they turn to solvers, it's impossible.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. Just understanding matchups.
You need to understand matchups, and you need to, you know, just really key in on what it is that your deck does. I think it's very easy to get lost in the sight of what decks do and try to think outside of the confines of what your deck does. That's why I say Fenry, focus on your OTK. Don't try to be defensive. At most, run your Dexmon, because it's never bad to have the Dexmon. If you can fit it, if you don't mind giving up, you know, that slot for a missed memory boost or something else, yeah, go ahead and run that Dexmon. But in general, just focus on what your deck does. Because I would say, at the end of the day, you're probably better off for it. If you go take a look at the topping list, what does Mirage run? Mirage runs every piece in the book to help itself win that fucking game. They run jamming ass Betamon. It's not even a Gaomon. They run jamming ass Betamon so that they have jamming swinging into your stack. They got 4 mental training and 3 memory boosts with their 6 teamers.
I've seen Destiny run Siegemon for the heritable jamming, you know. Yeah,
for the jamming and
just
rush.
To get that consistent jamming.
Everything in that deck is, I'm about to OTK the shit out of you, so you better hope. Oh, you can't do anything against me, actually, because I'm just going to go to Mirage, bounce yo shit, and then proceed to OTK you from there. You know, the likes of Red Hybrid.
Why would you do anything besides just go burr with that deck, right? Like, doesn't matter what you're playing against.
I don't remember what it was. I was looking at some Red Hybrid list, and I was like, why?
What are you doing?
Why would you do this? Like, this does... I hate that I'm... Oh, it's that whole thing with Atomic Inferno Gravity Crush. Like they'll play like 2 Atomic Inferno and 2 Gravity Crush. And I'm like, no, you guys are doing it all wrong. You need a minimum of 3 Atomic Inferno, if not 4. Like that card is dumb for you. And Gravity Crush, you gotta see it. You're gonna have that moment where you're like, damn, if only I had the Gravity Crush. Maybe you should have been running more. Maybe you should have had that Atomic Inferno. Atomic Inferno out of security is stupid. Just
100%.
it's a blanket sec +1. Like, just do what your deck does and do it well. Crimson Blaze, the only reason you play that card is because that card is so fucking stupid that you can reduce the cost. It's never a full cost 6. It's at minimum 5 because you're generally popping a Digimon. But if you're just trying to stop somebody from popping off on their next turn, you could also just end turn on the Crimson.
I've played against my fair share of skilled Red Hybrid players, and it's crazy how much you can extend a turn with Gravity Crush, and then they'll set you to 1 because you have your Memory Tamer, and then it's like Gravity Crush never happened anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very good point. everything about almost all of the decks. I can't really think of a deck that like, I guess Secon is like the only one, but again, playing Secon, it doesn't really matter. Either your security is good or your security is not. Because at the end of the day, if your security is trash, well, you're fucked. Like, sure, you can remove shit, but once they're able to peel through that security and they hit Salamon, Magna Ace, Venusmon, Salamon, oh, they finally hit the Chaos deck. No, not a problem. They still got one swing for game or some shit like that. Like, you just were in a tough spot to begin with as the Secon player. But I'd say that's probably like the only matchup where that like kind of matters. Maybe Yellow Vaccine to an extent as well, because they also play on security being a resource for them. Most other decks, it's how does your deck play and how do you pivot when your deck isn't working? Secon, there's no pivoting. There's no pivoting as Secon. Vaccine can kind of pivot. It's a little bit tougher. Most other decks, you should be able to pivot in some sort of way. Leviamon, you're not pivoting. You're going to fucking destroy board, and if you don't win that turn and they're able to clap back, it is what it is. That's just like the last big thing to consider when you guys are building decks. Make sure you have your eyes set on the goal. If you don't have your eyes set on the goal, if you decide instead of taking a shot, you're going to go pass the ball off to a teammate, well, then you're no better than fucking Ben Simmons back in 2021. I'm sorry. For all you basketball fans out there, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, we're going to call it a day.
You're talking about when he passed the ball because Trae Young scared him underneath the rim.
When he pussied out like a little bitch because he didn't want to fucking do the layup like he always does. And instead of that, he passed it off. They didn't shoot the ball. They missed whatever it was. And then they lost the series. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's a tough day as a Philadelphia fan. Anyways, we're going to wrap it up there. What's our parting words for our viewers, for our listener? I know I'm not watching basketball. I'm watching baseball.
My
I'm
parting
having
words.
fun watching the Phillies.
Build your deck. Test your deck. Take the cards out that don't work to put the cards that do work in.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Could not have said it better myself. Dan, what's your parting words?
I love Digimon. We all love Digimon.
I will also take the words of Dan Vang. I love Digimon. Absolutely, positively, 100,000%. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.
Catch you on the next one.